We had an amazing first series between LFO and Sinister. 2-0. Sinister looked the goods, but we've still got one more series to come tonight. Okami versus Pittsburgh Knights. And Devin, if I thought LFO and Sinister was going to be close, which it wasn't, this is definitely going to be closer.
Hopefully we'll get another close one. Yeah, I mean, on paper, we totally should. These guys are right next to each other in the standings at the moment. Knights managed, after last week, where they managed to take 2 maps off of Elevate, crazy, they've leapfrogged all the way up to 3rd place, and Okami sitting at 4th. Now, keep in mind, Okami have played 2 less maps than Knights has, but these guys are totally neck and neck on cards, on paper, in the standings. So, I mean, hopefully we see a close series. And there's an opportunity here for Okami to take back that 3rd place off of Knights if they do secure both map wins as well.
Yep, socials below as well. Everyone get voting. The poll vote was pretty much accurate, actually.
It's more accurate than us.
Voted. Yeah, definitely more than us. I was expecting it to be closer, but everyone at home clearly was on the money. 59% voted for Sinister. They were correct. So let us know what you think Okami and Pittsburgh Knights is going to end. We'll have that poll vote up soon. Going into this series, though, as we now sort of shift our attention away from LFO and Sinister over to Knights and Okami. Again, we have that similar circumstance where, of course, Pittsburgh Knights were able to play their playday last week, Dev, but for Okami, theirs has been shifted to next week, where they will then be, of course, playing 2 matches next week.
Yep, and that's because we had the R6 Classics on last week. If you remember, we had some fun games. Wildcard played against... Actually, I can't remember who... Oh, it was Wildcard played against Vodafone Giants, and Fnatic played against Nora, so that was a lot of fun. And that's why we moved the games onto this week. But yeah, Knights Okami should be fantastic. Let's bring up the first one of the rosters here and take a look at how these guys are going. It's going to be Okami, and these guys currently sitting at 4th place. As you mentioned, Jake, they missed out on a game last week, but they've been doing pretty well this season so far. Some good games against Kanga. They took a map off of LFO, but they have had a few ties as well.
Yeah, look, they've been thereabouts, and the fact that they're still in 4th place, even though they've got 3 matches technically still to be played, of course, this one with Knights, then, you know, their next 2 next week. The fact that they're still in 4th place sort of spells how well that they have been playing this season thus far, and their chances of finishing in the top 4, especially if they can push through Knights this week. You know, they've got a bit of a tough one next week against Wildcard and Elevate. So this might be their best bet to find a 2-0 against some of these tougher teams, where then probably against Elevate and Wildcard, they'll be looking more so to go 1-1.
Yeah, very much so. Elevate and Wildcard will both be really tough opponents for Okami, so they've got to knock out some points here. They've had quite a few ties already, and I really want to see them get some more victories under the belt. If you're looking for a player to keep an eye on here on these guys, it's going to be Ippy style for those early round bits of aggression. And yeah, definitely, he's often trying to make a play, but I also want to point out Cutie, who's been instrumental in a lot of clutches. I remember one particular game on Villa. I'm going to say it was against Sinister. And Cutie managed to put an air jab down and get a 7-second plant time down while the timer was at 0-0 and clutch the round in a 1 versus 1. Absolutely nut stuff. So I'm definitely going to keep my eye on Cutie for those impact plays too.
I mean, as a team, though, yeah, you mentioned Cutie, Ippy style, of course, no brainer, the entry fragger. A lot of the times it's going to get a decent amount of kills, and he's going to be highlighted. But Joker, Mangoes, Jack Dad, these guys all contribute. They all make up what has been a solid team, right? A team, not just a couple of individuals playing really well. And that's why they're sitting, what, 5-3 right now. They got a +6 round differential, 15 points. They're close to securing top 4. Been saying that, they probably haven't been as tested maybe as a couple of other teams have so far this season. A lot of these, you know, wild cards, Pittsburgh and Elevate all still remaining. I'm intrigued by so much to see how these guys now perform against a bit of a tougher opponent. That test will start tonight, though, of course, against Pittsburgh Knights, which we'll have a look at their roster. Now, they did play last week. They demolished Elevate 2-0, especially on that last map on Kafe, 7-2. Very one-sided for a team, Elevate, that you would expect to see around that top 4.
Yeah, definitely. Knights coming into the latter half of the season, that's when things have really started to get challenging in terms of the teams they have to play. So Elevate last week, which on paper should have been a really tough game. Okami tonight, another really tough game. And then one more game to go, which is Wildcard just next week. But as you mentioned, they demolished Elevate 7-2 and 8-6. And I mean, maybe that's a good sign for the Knights. Maybe that shows that they could keep on going, take the fight to Okami, and then maybe even wildcard. And I think that's really what Knights need to see. Currently sitting in third place on the standings, but they can definitely drop down from there. And I mean, I don't have full confidence because looking at some of their past results, they dropped a map to LFO, dropped the map to Sinister, dropped the map to Ferox. So by no means has this been an exceedingly strong season for the Knights.
We're going to go and have a look at the maps very, very shortly here, but I'm expecting Theme Park and Consulate to be banned out. I haven't seen the vetoes. Those are my guesses. It's just something that has been a bit of an insta-ban for both of those two teams going forward this season. Okami generally banning Theme Park. And, well, I got one of them right. It was Consulate from Pittsburgh, but Coastline taken away. Now, that's generally because Pittsburgh have been playing quite well on Coastline.
Yeah, I mean, that's actually a funny one. I mean, Okami, it's a pretty weak map for them, but they haven't banned it yet in Six Masters. As you mentioned, Theme Park's basically been Okami's insta-ban. And yeah, on the flip side, Knights have some mixed results. They played Sinister previously in the Six Masters on Coastline and lost it 7-2. Before that, though, they were undefeated for quite some time. So I can definitely see Knights being strong on Coastline, so it makes sense for Okami to ban it out. Consulate, I mean, that's just basically the insta-ban for Knights, so it makes sense. Let's move on to the picks. Okami going to pick Clubhouse. Clubhouse and Cafe, what is it with ANZ teams? Clubhouse and Cafe every single week. Week in, week out. What is it? Please tell me.
Look, what I'll say is, just finishing up on that Coastline, is Knights, despite their mixed results on it, they have picked it twice out of the first 5 weeks, so it is something that they generally do go ahead and pick. So I guess Okami kind of looked at that and like, okay, we want to take away one of their picks. But Clubhouse and Cafe, I mean, Cafe, they're both really strong on this. Generally, it's picked by Pittsburgh. They continue that trend here. But I think for Okami, they're more than happy to just leave that open. They got a 2-1 record this season. So I don't think they'd be too scared to go to Cafe. And I'd probably say Clubhouse is 50-50 between the both of them. We've seen Okami pick it a couple of times. We haven't seen Knights pick it or ban it this season, but they've played it like 4 times. No surprise, because it's the most picked map this season of Six Masters. So both teams are very affluent on both of the maps.
Yeah, I mean, it's difficult to call at this stage because, like you're saying, both of these teams have mixed results on both maps. For Cafe, Okami been really, really strong. They did drop it to Elevate previously. I'll bring up the poll vote, see where you guys think it's going to land. And that's actually super, super split, isn't it? Damn.
3% difference really between the two teams. I think we said it the last time we were casting 2 weeks ago that one of the games was like the closest we'd seen. I don't know if 3% has been beaten. 45 and 42. No one expecting really a draw though. That's the intriguing thing to take out of this, is that everyone is expecting a 2-0 in some fashion here, which I'm going to go against the grain, Dev. I'm going to go on the outside here and say I think a draw may be likely here based off these map picks, which are both a bit 50-50 here, which probably does lend credence to the fact that then, of course, if it's 50-50, whoever wins that first map can then make it 2-0, but I'm going to back in a draw here.
It's time for Clubhouse. It is Okami's own map pick after previously banning it earlier in the season. That's the frontier for Okami against Knights tonight. And we'll kick off this second series right now. Let's jump into it.
Oh, good. I thought we were going to have to wait.
No,
Luckily,
no, I wouldn't make you wait.
You made that clear that we're going straight into it right now. Well, considering the map picks, Clubhouse and Cafe, which are by far and away the two most common picks this season, I'm then now potentially expecting some very common bans to come out. Wouldn't be too surprised. I say that, though, the Capital completely blows me away there because that's either the first or only time that it's come out.
Capital has actually been a super prominent operator across... Oh my god, are we stuck at 0-0? That's
Wahoo! Says Jack.
Wahoo! Says Jack.
In that second that we had time, I can confirm this is the first time that Capital has been banned this season.
Oh, nice. Well, what's funny is
So,
Capital is
go
actually
me.
really powerful on Clubhouse, particularly for clearing out blue, which is a technique we saw employed really effectively by LFO just earlier tonight, clearing blue by using the firebolts on either side. Yes, I think the server has crashed, so we're probably going to give and show you our lovely faces, which is great because
Oh, that's
we love
unfortunate
the
for everyone at home.
attention. We do poses, do all kinds of things.
I mean,
We
I
get
think
the
I think it's more so you,
I-
Dev. Let's be real. Have we still got that backup of the dev only, the dev only picture that we had last time?
No, please. Please no.
Actually,
you left me alone once. Not happening again.
Did you end up posting that dev desk only picture on Twitter? I'm not sure if you posted it or not.
I haven't yet.
You've got to
but
put that.
I shall later. But
Yeah.
look, back to business, mate. What I wanted to talk about was Clubhouse because it's where we landed. I'll finish off rounding out about Capital because that was a super common ban overseas, particularly in EU. The European teams are just so good at using that Capital, but locally hasn't been as prominent. Okami banned it out. I think it's not sure which player it is from Knights. I always forget. Might be Hayward, but they do tend to use it, and it can be powerful. So I guess Okami's logic is get rid of it. We're not going to use it. Might hamstring some of their attacks. Maybe it's based on some FODs. But I want to talk about our expectations for Clubhouse. I'm actually just surprised that Okami has picked it because when they played against Sinister, this was their one and only ban. They banned Clubhouse. And in recent times, 2 games ago over in Six Masters, Okami played Ferox and only barely won Clubhouse 8-7. And I mean, that is not a scoreline that instills me with confidence here, Jake.
No, I mean it's not, but at the same time, there hasn't been a whole lot of play from them on Clubhouse, and then yet they still won that only game. I mean, Ferox is not a bad team, right? They can push a lot of these teams to the brink. 8-7 in some cases. We've seen some very, very close games that go back and forth. In other cases, maybe an 8-7 scoreline. I don't necessarily recall that off the top of my head, but sometimes the scoreline doesn't always tell the story as well. And for Okami, this is the most played map in the pool. You've got to be able to play it. And so they've got to back themselves in to be able to take Knights on Clubhouse. And look, in saying that, while it is the most played, what's interesting is Knights have never picked Clubhouse. I'll repeat that, Dev. They've never picked Clubhouse. They've played it 4 times, though. They've never picked or banned it. They love it. Mixed results, 2-2. A lot of their better results have been in more recent times, LFO and Kanga, for Knights' sake. So if Okami look at that and say, okay, well, Kanga 7-2, all right, that's fine. LFO 7-2, that's a decent result. I look at that as a decent result. But before that, they lost to Sinister and Ferox on Clubhouse. It's very much a bit of a coin flip here. Not a whole lot of information, but the information we do have says this is something that could go either way.
Yeah, you bring up a great point. Knights are playing 5 series so far in 6 Masters, and 4 of those times, their opponent has picked Clubhouse, and half of the times that Knights have played it, they've won it. So this is very much mixed result territory, and Okami are the ones who've decided we want to take him there. I've got to theorize, if I'm Knights, I wouldn't have expected Okami to pick up Clubhouse. I would totally have expected Okami to pick something like, well, honestly, the best maps I had for Okami were Kafe and Consulate. So, I mean, and maybe Villa, because they've had decent results on there in the past as well. Despite some losses.
They knew that Consulate was never going to make it through. That's been an insta-ban for Knights pretty much every single series. They don't even think that for them, Consulate doesn't exist, right? And I looked at the Villa as well, and I thought, I think we were both going along the same train of thought there. Villa was an option, but you look at their last time they picked and played Villa, they lost that to Sinister 5-7. So maybe you lose a bit of confidence in that.
I mean, Villa's a weird one. I know I don't want to talk about it too much because it's not on the table here, but we're trying to get some insight into Okami's thought process here, picking Clubhouse, which in theory is almost as good maybe for Knights as it is for themselves. So with Villa, right, that was their alternate option. I think the most obvious second choice. And their opponents, Knights, have banned it twice so far in 6 Masters. They haven't played it since March. And Okami, they've lost it twice so far in 6 Masters, 5-7 against Sinister, 7-8 against LFO. But prior to that, back in the Pro League season, Okami, this was like their home turf. They won it several times, including a 7-3 against Fnatic and a 7-3 against Wildcard back at when they were at their height. So, I mean, I'm trying to think like Okami, this is a bit of a gamble here.
you're not wrong. And looking further into it, they beat LFO on Villa 7-4 earlier on in the season. Even though they didn't pick it that time, they still played it and they still won it. At that point, it was actually the first time we'd seen Villa even come out by that point.
Talking about Kami?
Yeah, Kami.
No, it was Kafe they won 7-4. I'm pretty sure Villa was the 7-8 because you remember right at the end, I can't remember if I was casting with you, but right at the end, LFO picked up the bomb site.
Well, then that kind of just puts even more credence into the fact as to why then they probably haven't gone the way of Villa, right? So then even better. That makes it so much easier. And, they were obviously going to ban out Coastline because that's something that Knights have been picking. Consulate was never going to be on the table. Theme Park has been insta-banned generally a lot for Okami as well this season. So I understand where you're going with Villa being an option, but I think Clubhouse actually was a better option than Villa in this the way that they've been playing, at least recently. Clubhouse is probably the better option.
Look, Knights lost this to Sinister way back on the second round, but other than that, they have been undefeated. Sorry, no, they also lost it to Ferox. But they've been undefeated since. So they've played it twice since they lost it to Sinister. And I mean, Knights' form on Clubhouse is good. In contrast, Akami's been banning it against Sinister. So, I mean, I'm not questioning the decision for Okami. I'm just pointing out that, like, this is a gamble, and it could slide either way.
One thing I want to talk about, moving maybe just slightly away from the map tier, because we were in the ban phase when the server did go down, but looking at the bans coming out from Okami so far this season, it's been mostly Ying and Mirror, and the one time that it wasn't Ying and Mirror, it was like Ying and Echo, because Mirror had already been banned by the other team. But what we have seen, maybe over just the last 2 weeks, Dev, is that Ying bans have kind of just dropped off in the rate that we've at least seen over the first couple of weeks of this season, where she was getting banned like constantly. She was like an instant ban. Mirror, though, has now become that instant ban. It's like 13 times in a row now. I'm expecting to see Mirror get banned out on both maps, but will we see that Ying ban still take place? Because teams look like they've maybe just dropped off from banning her for a bit.
What's funny about the Ying there is we also haven't seen a lot of Ying play, even when she's not banned. Like, for example, tonight she wasn't banned at all on Cafe or Club, and she wasn't picked once either. There was like one point where LFO had it picked, and then they just switched off of it. Maybe they changed their mind. Maybe it was a misclick or whatever. But I think it goes to show that at once, when that Ying buff came out, teams were particularly scared. And I think Okami is a team where they're like, look, if we're not going to use it, just ban it. I don't want to think about it. But maybe since they've started to see, oh, well, no one's actually using Ying, we might be able to figure out how to counter it. She did get one Candela removed. She's got 3 now, so a bit of a slight reversion of that previous buff. And I think that maybe what I'm hoping for Okami is they've said, okay, we want to do a target ban here. We've identified Capital, and the way that Knights use that's highly impactful. What happens to Knights when we restrict Capital from their arsenal? What are they going to bring to the table? And I guess we'll have to find that out once Knights get onto their attacks.
Yeah, but also sort of what Knights are going to respond with in terms of bans for themselves. I think Maverick's a very likely ban. They've shown that they're going to ban that out a lot, especially going into Clubhouse. Kennel's walls generally opened up very easily with Maverick. So that's my guess here. That's all I can really sort of guess about in terms of what they're going to do for the attacking side. For defense, like, I don't see a way in any way that Mirror is going to get through here on Clubhouse. So it's a matter of who's going to then... So who's an Okami then going to choose? Is it Echo on Clubhouse?
Yeah. I don't know, to be honest. Like, you could go for a kind of left of field thing, ban like a Valkyrie, prevent that aggressive play. If I'm Okami, I kind of do want to ban something that gives Knights a bit more mobility. Maybe even we could see something crazy and just ban out the Vigil and really try to prevent that information denial. You'd see a mute ban. I mean, I'm going to theorize all this stuff, and then we're going to see some really boring bans like an Echo.
That is very crazy of you, though. I think the Vigil ban, I mean, it wouldn't I think Mozzie sees a bit more play in that capacity, more so than the Vigil. But even then, I don't think that's going to come out.
Yeah, look, I wouldn't be surprised. But look, Xenox, now that we've had a chance to really kind of dive into Club, I mean, I've expressed my misgivings with Okami's decision to take us to Club. And look, they're the ones who have been in their scrims and watching their scrim results and such. I haven't been involved in that, so they know better than me. But like, what are you thinking right now? Are you feeling that Okami actually has the capacity to take their map pick here on Clubhouse, or is Knights going to put up a fight?
Oh, I mean, Knights are definitely going to put up a fight. They've got a lot of experience on Clubhouse. So, I mean, I've said all along, I think Clubhouse is 50-50. It's hard to make that call. So, I very much, I mean, I'm sitting on the fence here. I know that's a bit cheap to come out and say that, but that's just how I feel here, that it could go either way. A lot of it probably comes down to the attacker side, who can be a bit more aggressive and be more clean with their entries. We've seen at times that on Clubhouse, teams can get kind of stalled out a little bit, especially like third floor, sitting around like kennels and the balcony. If you don't find picks and you come in with the last 30 seconds, it can be quite difficult. We don't generally see a lot of construction pushes, even though in the last series we saw it once and it was successful, but typically not too much more going on to like CCTV and cash, for example, through construction. So I want to see how teams sort of play this out. We're going to see a lot of runouts. We're going to see someone be aggressive. And then on the defensive side, that same thing we were seeing in our last series matchup between LFO and Sinister, a lot of aggressive roaming from LFO. Risk reward in some cases worked, most cases didn't.
I have a feeling, and I might be wrong here, but I have a feeling Okami are going to adopt, particularly on that Church and Arsenal bomb site downstairs, I have a feeling they're going to adopt more of a turtle-style defense. We know Okami are one of those teams that do like to use the Goyo and other operators that really help you to turtle and waste time. So I wouldn't be surprised to see, mostly turtle bomb kind of style of defense, and really force Knights to go through that utility simulator, right? Utility removal simulator, clear out any magnet devices, any ADSs, and then just destroy the Goya shields, any other deployable shields, whether it's castle barricades, what have you. And maybe Okami's going to try and play for time. But yeah, I mean, it does definitely hinge on the bans, because if Maverick's in, it really changes the landscape of how you deal with like Kaid electroclaws on hatches, and same for Thatcher, right? Like if you ban Thatcher, if Thatcher gets banned out by Knights here, then maybe it gives a bit more opportunity for the teams on the defense to use like the mute and Mozzie information denial roam strategies. Very hard to predict, because we kind of need to know the bans before we can theory craft too much. But overall, I gotta say, I cannot see this being a one-sided game on Clubhouse. I have a lot of reason to believe that this is going to be a close one. Okami are the ones who have decided, all right, let's go to Clubhouse. But Knights are the one, in my view, that actually have better results on the map. So it's going to be a close game. And yeah, definitely Okami is going to have to fight for everything that they want.
It's that meme, moments preceding unfortunate events. I feel like you're going to end up in one of those or something like that at the end of tonight, which is going to see like a 7-2 to like Knights or something on Clubhouse, and you're just going to look silly. But look, that just comes with sort of making predictions. That just comes with the jobs. And look, I definitely agree with you. I'm going to side with you. I think this is going to be close. Both maps, I think, will be close. I think we've got ourselves a very, very close series coming up that, look, at the same time, when you say it can be close, both teams are strong enough to take each other 2-0 and probably win those maps maybe one-sided. So it makes it very difficult to then predict and call it one way or the other. The other thing that we haven't maybe spoken too much about, and something I really did want to ask Enigma, is the fact that, LFO, they had a week off, and we're seeing Okami coming in now after a week off. How much that really plays into it. I wouldn't be totally shocked if they come into Clubhouse here and maybe they're just not quite at 100%. Maybe their foot's just slightly off the pedal going into this, which we are very shortly getting back into Clubhouse. Of course, we've still got the ban phase to also go through.
Yes. It's a good point that you bring up about, what's the word? Kind of like staying frosty and feeling warmed up. And if you have that break where you don't have a competitive match, you just have scrims for a week, like, it does change things. And I don't know whether obviously correlation does not equal causation, but LFO are that team that missed out on a game last week, and they had their first double loss tonight that they've had in the season. So it may well play into the fact, and look, that might turn around and bite Okami here on Clubhouse. But we do get into their map pick finally. It is time. Good luck, have fun, ×2. What is that, a hat? Is that meant to be a hat on a smiley
party
face?
hat. Yeah, like a little party hat.
I've never seen that before.
Yeah. Have you just...
Guess I'm not down with the kids.
gotten the internet today, Dev. That's okay. I forgive you. The Capita comes out. No surprise there. Of course, we had already seen that earlier on.
Hey.
But since we haven't had a whole lot to talk about, we can maybe talk about the Thatcher. That's also not too much of a surprise. The mirror will then follow what's going to be the last. I look like
Did you say that before it actually came up? Because it hadn't come up on my screen by the time you said that.
No, I didn't. I swear, I'm just that good, Dev. But no, look, this is the one. This is the pick coming up. I'm very, very intrigued.
You're wondering if it's going to be an echo or something else. Hey, I wouldn't be
Probably it's going to be an echo.
To see a curveball. Come on, surely give me a curveball, Okami. So yeah, I mean, looking at the landscape of operators right now, Thatcher's banned out, so it does give a bit more opportunity for teams to do that information denial style roam with the Mozzie and Mute, because it's more difficult to clear that utility, and it also leaves all 3 hard breaches vacant, particularly that Maverick, which basically eliminates any chance of bandit tricking, especially on that cache kennels or the CCTV kennels wall. As for the defense, mirror band out just means that you won't be able to place those mirror windows to create some really strong anchor positions, whether that's downstairs or upstairs. And the echo as well, just not going to have that last second plant denial and a bit less information gathering as well. But Ipistyle is going to compensate by 6 picking onto that Valkyrie off the Kaid, as the Kaid maybe not as impactful with that Maverick presence.
Attackers need to locate and defuse bombs.
I did mention Maverick earlier, but I should have probably done a bit more of my homework, Dev Marta, because every clubhouse game the Knights have been a part of, they've never banned Maverick themselves. That's generally been reserved for Kafe. So I guess I'll just have that one in the back pocket, ready to go in the ban phase for Kafe. But Clubhouse is going to be our first map here for the second series of the night. If you've just joined us, wondering how that first matchup went between LFO and Sinister. Sinister took it 2-0 on Clubhouse and Kafe. And it means if you've just joined us, we're also going to Clubhouse and Kafe in this series between Knights and Okami. Okami's pick on Clubhouse. Let's get us rock and rolling, Dev.
Yeah, and I mean, contrasting to what I had theorized, I had suggested that maybe we'd see a bit of an anchor style hold from Okami, but they're actually going to do the SSG roam. Yay, we got Mute, we got Muzzy, we got Castle. It is a textbook SSG roam, and on top of that, we've got a bit of extra information gathering from Ipistyle to enable some plays, maybe a bit of aggression, and a little bit of information gathering / entry denial from Mangoes as well, and he's likely to be that player on the site, throwing out those goo mines. I'm sorry, what? Ipistyle? I mean, he's the style we know, and he really kicks things off in style. Hayward getting taken out nice and early there.
Oh sometimes no! It be like that. He's found a second one onto Juicy. And then typically for Ipistyle and Okami, this is usually what we see from him on the attacking side. Finding these early picks, early frags. He's doing it here on the defense, which is a great sign. And he's basically said to us, 1 week break, who cares? That doesn't bother us. No excuse. Finds the 2 early frags, and Okami are here to play. 1:45 seconds as Knights have lost 2 early, and it's really going to stall out this attack from them.
Can I just point out, and look, we might need to change the observer view, go and have a look at the pool table, but the point where Ipistyle actually got both of those kills, it was both underneath castle barricades. He was playing kind of near the jukebox. He shot underneath that castle barricade in towards pool table to kill the player who pushed him from the other side, and then he did the same thing on the opposite side. So 2 kills by shooting attackers' feet underneath castle barricades. Now, that is one way to use the utility to the best of your effect.
The thing about that sort of play, though, is it's not one that you can probably repeat too often. You give away the play. You might be able to do it maybe 1 more time, but even then, a highly doubt he's going to find 2 more, right? That's just the sort of thing you set up, you come in. When do you want to try and use that play? In the end, they just go, why not do it in the first round and see if we can find something? It works. Josh will get Mangoes as a return fire, but a lot of the damage has already been done from Okami because of Ipistyle. 40 seconds left, pushing through dirt is Strider. He's got the diffuser in hand just to his left. Oh, Jack that! No one's watching behind him, and he kept his back at dirt, which ended up backfiring. Josh and Dinah are low. The push is going to be very difficult, and, well, now just about impossible.
And finished off Itby style. I believe that's 4 on the round. Man's unstoppable. Nice early 2K, and then as soon as Okami had that numbers advantage, they employed a very similar strategy to what we saw earlier tonight from LFO, where once you get that first pick, you just fully get back to site and use that numbers advantage to the best of your ability to prevent the attackers from getting any kind of refrags, and it worked to perfection. EP style functions just as well as an anchor as he does as the roamer, and a really nice SSG roam with 2 early picks. Bit of oversights from Knights is going to lead Okami really nicely in the start of this game.
A lot of aggression coming out, which is generally well received on Clubhouse, especially those basement holds. We saw it from LFO. They executed in one of the rounds, or I believe round 2 if I remember, but they tried it a few more times after that to very little success. But so hard to really gauge too much from that first round. A lot of it coming down to the fact that Ippy Style was able to get 2 kind of cheeky kills there. They weren't really like, it's hard to explain, because I feel like it's not something you're going to expect from him every single round here on out. So Knights can kind of go, all right, you're cheeky, but that's not going to happen again.
5 seconds to insertion.
Definitely, Knights are going to be a bit more cautious on the entries. They don't see a castle barricade and think, okay, well, that's free. I can enter in there. I'm protected, because the castle barricade doesn't go all the way down to the floor. There is that little gap, and Nitby Style, he likes to take advantage of that. Once again, the Valkyrie being utilized to full effect by Okami. Jack Daddy placing one on the rubbish bins outside. Pretty common spot for a Valkyrie camera, but there's no IQ on the attacking side, so a keen eye will be required to get rid of that. This is really where we start looking at Strider, though, to open up this Kennel's wall. I don't think there's anything really stopping him from succeeding with this Maverick trick. It should be fairly trivial, and once the wall has been unreinforced, Josh is going to open it up. Boom, and there you go. Kennel's wall is open. Magic.
Just like that. 2 minutes, open pretty early, but then pushing onto sites, not generally going to follow pretty quickly after that. It's on this 3rd floor, getting control of garage, and whoever's generally holding up in rafters. If you get that person, then you can really put the pressure onto the defensive side. But this is the bomb site, CCTV and cache, where I'd like to see a bit more push through from construction, which looks like maybe the case. Knight's going to drone it out, and he's going to push through. Hayward as well to join him. What this does is now puts a lot of pressure from multiple different avenues onto the site, and kind of just squeezes Okami onto the site, and then they can come in from different angles rather than just funneling through from, say, Kennel's wall.
This is where we'll likely see Dino attempts to open up that wall, but Hayward needs to clear out the Electroclaw so that Dino can place his Kairos pellets on. Only 1 nade left. The first one misses, but Juicy does find Mangoes. That's the Kaid. Now let's see if Hayward's aim can be true with this nade. Good arm. And it does clear out that Electroclaw. So, should be pretty trivial for Dino to open up an avenue onto the bomb side, but that won't spell the whole thing. Ippy Style just wide peeks Josh on the Kennel's wall, and that's now an angle Okami just don't have to worry about as that player taken out.
It was a trade back, though, from Juicy onto Jack Dad. 40 seconds left remaining, but Knights have been able to clear out a lot of avenues onto the site. Although now they're going to see if the aim is true as they then now push through. Top of red is still in control of Cutie. Little angle peek. Doesn't elect to take the shot, just wants to keep his head intact. That's the smart option. Now he can peek it back with a pre-fire. Although not holding that angle this time is, I believe, Hayward. And it is, although Hayward pushed forward, going to get punished by Cutie. 2 versus 1. Cutie's in a tough situation, expecting the push from the red stairs. Unfortunately, Dev, he can't shoot both at the same time.
But it did get very close there by the end of it. A 2 versus 1, and Cutie very nearly got that. If he had injured Dino on the first peak, which I think he believed he injured the Hibana, that's why he went to pick the second angle. But if he had managed that shot, would have definitely been a salvageable round for Okami. But Knights, just to push in at the last minute and win out in their trade battles was so essential for them.
Well, they're going to try CCTV and cash again, Okami, which don't blame them. Good sight, but doesn't always pay off. I believe we saw LFO do the same thing in theirs earlier on tonight, where they lost CCTV and they thought, okay, we'll try it again. They lost it then, but at that point I think it made it something like 0-3. This is of course 1-1, but for Okami's sake, Ippy Style is certainly fragging out right now. 5 kills already in just the first 2 rounds. It almost feels like you can always bank on him to find a kill or two, even things up if you've fallen behind, or get that early advantage.
For the attack, I really want to highlight Dino in that last round. In fact, he was last week's MVP. Really stellar performance on both Kafe and Border in Knights' game against Elevate. But here, I mean, it's just on the 2 kills at the moment, but in that previous round, it really was essential from him, not only to open up that wall from construction into cash, but also to follow it up with an entry and then lock out that final aggression onto Cutie to lock out the round for his team. Sometimes these players are a bit underrated, but also essential, and Dino has been turning up for the Knights.
The price you pay to open up the wall for Strider, it's not a very large price. Although you don't want to get hit by Electro Claw too often. That's okay though. He's a tough man. He's a tough cookie. He'll push through. Should be able to break this down pretty easily, pretty comfortably. Josh just making sure nothing too cheeky comes through. But look, Okami should be ready for this second try at CCTV and cash. Although will Knights, you'd think Dev will play this a bit differently. Well, never mind. Dino, Hayward, around construction. So far, it's all a bit same.
Yeah, Knights making good time because they're committing players to separate areas. It's up to Strider and Josh to take control of the Kennel's wall, and Dino and Hayward, together with some support from Juicy, to take control of construction. So that kind of split push pairing up really helps enable that. Wait a second, Mango's just got injured. Another grenade's going to follow up, and that finishes the deal. Also Cutie as well. There you go. What is this from Knights? Hayward just stepping up, and it's a file on in. Juicy gets taken out. That's 2 for Ippy Style. Finally, there is the trade. That's Hayward third on the round. Finished off now. It's all on Jack Dad.
C4 goes out from Jack Dad. Doesn't use it immediately. Maybe he can push up. Never mind. Just goes for a bit of the luck play. Oh, the head's peeking. He sees it, but at the last second, Knights take the round. And a lot of that thanks to Hayward's initial entry frags with the nade through the hole in the wall. And a good round for Knights as they now take 2 in a row.
Can I just mention that this is something so distinctive of the Knights in a meta where people call this meta that we're in these days, people call it the 20-second meta. Because, and the mentality behind that is that the defenders have so much utility that the attackers have to just piece by piece remove it. And by the time they've done that and they can finally actually enter the objective, there's only 20 seconds left in the round. Well, I'll have you know, Knights had that round over within 2 minutes. They only used 2/3 of their allotted time. And that wasn't because Okami, the defenders, were just giving them free kills and playing super aggressively. No, that was just exceptional time management from the Knights. And they thought, look, as soon as there's an opportunity for us to execute, we're just going to do it. Just collapse right now. We don't have to wait until the last few seconds of the round, because that's when the defenders are expecting you to explode onto the bomb side. As soon as you see your opportunity, go for it.
I feel like I just got a lecture.
I'm sorry, bro.
That's good. You're right. 100% spot on. You know, you've got the nade in hand. You're thinking you're going to throw it anyway. You see the opportunity, the hole in the wall, and you think, well, that's generally where they're going to probably be standing.
10 seconds to go.
First one goes out, gets the injure. Second one finishes it off. But then also, you know, you get that, when you get that kill, you're kind of expecting someone to be close by to go for the trade. And in the end, Hayward was very much aware that that trade was going to come from a very similar location. Peek to the left, found that second one, and you're right. Then it's an easy push in from there. This is going to be a bit different though. We go down to Church and Arsenal in the basement for round 4. And this is where we saw 2 styles. You can either go for that turtle, all 5 down to the basement, or aggressive roamers.
And last round, Ippy Style got the nice 2-piece early on from Bar. He's playing in a similar area. Hayward's about to drone him out. Does spot him, no doubt. Ippy's on camera, so he doesn't know his position's been revealed. He might have seen that drone. He does, and shoots it. Now watching for a player to enter from lobby. There are roamers upstairs as well. Ippy Style just holding in Bar as long as he possibly can. Juicy trying to drone ahead. Jack and Cutie upstairs. Dino about to drone out. Jack Dad, ooh, misses that drone. Trying to hack it now. There's a player just around that corner. He has to be so cautious.
I mean, he knows he's got to be cautious, but at the same time, when you're playing this way, you're not necessarily playing too cautiously. You're playing in aggressive manner, aggressive position, looking to find these picks, ready to react quickly, move back, have an exit strategy in place as well. Cutie doesn't need no exit strategy. He'll take out Dino now to fall back peacefully on his own terms. Jack Dad now pushes through construction. The aggressive play from Okami paying dividends right now. Josh, though, surely just shoots through. Doesn't get the injure, and Strider's able to get Cutie, but they haven't finished off Jack Dad yet here up on construction. Has he fallen away? He has, over to Master. Minute low on the clock, and the amount of time that these roamers have been able to take away from Knights has at least been effective, but they have paid for their lives to achieve this.
And notably, the player that was eliminated is Dino. Not only has he been very impactful for the Knights in these previous few rounds and last week, but on top of that, he is the Hibana. He is one of the prominent hard breaches. Mangoes is still roaming. Josh is going to get caught with his pants down. There's the freest kill Mangoes has ever had. He's going to get back to site. That evens up the man count. And now not only are Knights short on utility, but the man count isn't even in their favor any longer.
Yeah, and they don't have any control over really many of these locations. There's a trade out. Ippy Style got that opening one. Strider, the diffuser in hand, sprays through the wall, able to get Joker, trade it back, but Knights win the round. They've got the numbers in the end. Hayward found 2. As he pushes through blue, he had at least help. And Knights have won 3 in a row all of a sudden. In a round that Okami looked like they were going to win.
That was crazy.
Oh, they're speechless.
I mean, this is something that Knights have always been good at. And it is, it doesn't matter what the situation is, let's just go and try and take the bomb site and refrag it out. And it's not just that they have insane aim or anything like that, because, you know, anyone can aim. Knights have chemistry. That's what they've got that so many teams lack. They have this coordination where on the flick of a switch, it's like they have a magic word, you know, like the sleeper agents from like secret agent TV shows and stuff. And you say like pineapple and then they just like erupt and kill everybody. It's like Knights have some special code word. It just means, all right, everyone drop whatever you're doing. We're just going to go full send right now. And we're doing it together as a team. And it's beautiful to watch.
Poetry in motion. Knights. Well, they definitely don't want a close match. They don't want a close series. 3-1, perfect start. And it goes back to sort of, I guess, the games against Elevate last week where they had a close one in the first map, but then 7-2 finished it off. And of course, it's not like they've had a week break. They're able to come straight back in. Okami had that one round, but since then, it's been all Knights. And that's what I did say it as well, that after that first round, you can't take too much into it. Ippy Style found 2 very cheeky kills, something that wasn't going to be replicated, at least not anytime soon, which so far that's proven to be true. And since then, Knights have just been in control. They've been able to find picks early on, get good position, push onto sites with relatively ease and time in the bank as well. And the one downside in that last round was, you know, took a bit of time clearing out some of the roamers, but besides that, everything else has been perfect.
It might be early to call, but surely we're questioning Okami's map pick here of Clubhouse. It wasn't tried and true from their results. They had lost it just as much as they'd won it, and they'd even banned it against Sinister, so it's clearly not one of their best maps. And Knights have had good results here. Okami really has to start giving themselves a kick up the bum, but there's a flank up the red stairs. Just silence. Juicy finds one, Josh for another, and Knights are ready to start gaming.
I think they were ready to start gaming as soon as we got into this series, taking control of both CCTV and Cash as they head over to Master Gym.
Bomb located by attackers.
Really not much else to say here for this round with only Cutie and Mango still remaining. Cutie's going to get one, but it's all for naught, you'd think. It's all for a bit of a show. Knights take it out almost flawlessly. And now that's 4 rounds in a row here on the attacking side of Clubhouse. They are in sync.
Everything is covered. No way you're getting back upstairs, Kaid. Absolutely no way. Knights are in control. There's just not even a look in from Okami. You mentioned it was just that one first round for Okami on the back of a nice 2K from Itby style. And Knights got a bit ahead of themselves. You know, they jumped in windows, they started pushing in maybe before it was safe, and Okami punished them for it. Since then, Knights aren't falling for any of Okami's tricks. In fact, they have manhandled them through this attacking half. We'll see, and once again, a Church and Arsenal attempts, and in fact, it is the final round for Okami to salvage something out of this defense. Best they can be looking at into their attacking half is a 2-4 split. And, well, last time they defended this bomb site, it really didn't look so well. They committed to that roam. They lost more players than Knights. Knights were 4 versus 3 after that roam clear. And then Knights just absolutely turned up the heat, exploded onto site, used that numbers advantage to their benefit, and Okami had no response.
They're going to have to find a response, though. There's no choice now in the matter as we head into the final round of the first half. The response needs to probably happen here. 5-1, I don't give them any sort of a chance then if they go into this 5-1. This is not exactly like, oh, you know, attack decided, you're expected to win 3-4 rounds. It's pretty 50-50 from what we've seen recently. Might go for another castle play. Not sure if it's going to work, though, but Okami are down 1-5 at the half. I told you jinxed it, Dev, so we can all blame you.
I said that there was no way this is going to be an easy game for either team. I said this is definitely going to be a close one because we had such mixed results from both teams. And, you know, the previous results, the bans that we'd seen from these teams in the past really indicated it would be close. And, I mean, Knights are just saying, to hell with your predictions, Dev.
There's a lot of similarities between this series so far. I mean, I know we're only 5 rounds in, but between LFO and Sinister, and right now Knights are looking very much like Sinister in that they just seem like the aggressive, in control team. Not too fast, not too slow, well paced, all in sync. Everything's going their way. And Okami, like LFO before them, just look all out of sorts. And the two things in common for that is they're both the two teams that didn't play last week. I know I keep mentioning it, but oh, that's just not it. This is the response, though, from Okami that they needed. The C4 from Jack Dad, the aggressive push out. I'm not sure if Knights are expecting this from Okami. And it's worked. And they've completely caught them with their pants down. Hayward and Strider the last 2 in a 2 versus 5.
Yeah, well, I think that's what we call a successful roam game for Okami, and it all happened at once. A C4, a shotgun blast, not sure where that happened, and then of course that flank up from Mango's taking advantage of the fact that Knights was so preoccupied with those roamers that he could flank up through storage. But now just Hayward and Strider, you can see they're in sync. They're deciding what the play is. Go grab the diffuser. Are they going to go through dirt? It seems so, but Itby style, he's sitting in freezer. Hayward's going to have no clue. That's a freebie. Oh, Itby almost dies for it, but that's diffuser as well now. Strider has to address this. Surely Itby style can win this gunfight. He does. And a flawless round to end the half. 2-4 for Okami.
Well, Itby style opened up the half, and he closed it as well. Fortunately for Okami, but yet unfortunately, it was the only 2 rounds that they took on their defense. They switched, though, over to the attack, which might just benefit Okami more than usual. You know, you got the aggressive entry style of Itby style, who usually finds those early frags, makes it easy for his team to then push in with a lot of the support around him. But the way that Knights have been playing, besides those 2 slip-ups, their 4 round wins were all one-sided. They were all dominant. There weren't struggles. They weren't tense. We'll see, though, if that continues to translate here now onto their defensive half.
Attackers need to locate and defuse as many bombs as they can.
Knights are going to go downstairs to kick it off. And yeah, we're definitely looking at Okami right now and saying, you picked Clubhouse, show us why. You better have some good attacks in store. I really don't feel like that on a left of field Capitao ban from Okami hindered Knights on their attacks at all. There was never a moment where I was thinking, Knights are really not looking great. If only they had Capitao, everything would be fine. So a bit of an impactless operator ban, perhaps from Okami. And well, we'll have to see how Okami do deal with this on the attack now. Knights feeling confident after such a strong attacking half. Where are we going to go from here?
Attackers must locate and defuse a bomb.
I mean, the opening round kind of probably dictates where we are going to be going. 2-5 is very different to, say, 3-4. If Okami can open things up down in basement, which has typically been a decent bomb site to hold for the defenders, at least what we've seen so far tonight even, right? So it looks like Turtle Strat for Knights is going to be employed. We'll see how Okami can deal with it, but if they can push through and find these picks, get onto site plant, get the win, 4-3, and then I guess they've also wrestled back a bit of momentum.
Look at operators. I'm just going to point out a bit unusual to see all three hard breaches taken from the attacking side. Cutie, Hibana, Joker on the Maverick, and Mango's on the Thermite. So anything that could get opened will get opened. That's for sure.
Ooh, Loopy Style's going to open up Strider's head. That's the opening pick. That's what I was talking about prior coming into this round. He just knows where to place himself, where to get these picks. Now, 5 versus 4 is very different. Now 5v3.
It's unfortunate. Real shame. I
mean, it's just the Ippy style effect in play.
So, Dino, Josh, and Hayward. I know on the attack they were good at dealing with numbers deficits, but defense is a whole nother can of worms. 5 versus 3. Okami can't let anything slip, and Ippy Style is going to further that man advantage, leaving just Josh and Hayward to clutch up. Likely that's blue control also sacrificed with all that hard breach available for the attack. Everything is going to be opened before too long. Josh might have 2 impact grenades in the pocket, but surely all 3 Hibana pellets will trump that. Oh no, just a missed shot from Hayward, and he will be punished for it. All on Josh now. Surely this is not possible.
Well, it's not over till it's over, but it's looking pretty over for Josh. Gets tagged up a bit, able to get Ippy Style at least. I'm not counting him out just yet. If you can find a few wall bangs, doesn't even attempt it though. I mean, they know where he is as well. Could have easily had a try and trying to stop the plant, but Cutie will get him down the hallway, and that's going to be the round in favor of Okami. And going into this half now, 3-4 doesn't look so bad at all.
That's a great point. It's crazy how we went from a 4-1, and we're thinking, oh, this looks really bad for Okami, and then we go to a 4-3. Yeah, that's actually basically nearly even scoreline. So, hey, maybe Okami can have a run back on their attacking side, but to be honest, they just got the opening picture to an oversight from Strider. I'm sure that Knights is going to buckle down, not let that happen as badly, and of course they had that disconnect from, I think it was Juicy. So, I mean, surely that's not going to be replicated here, and maybe that was a bit of a free round for Okami. Knights surely going to buckle up from here on.
Defenders, protect your
I mean, and I know that I said this as well for that very first round that Okami were able to win because of the double kill for Ippy Style. But technically, if you have 7 or 8 rounds that can't be replicated, who cares? That's all you need, right? So for Okami's sake, okay, they've had 2 rounds that probably can't be replicated, and it doesn't really tell the whole story. Knights' 4 rounds were very convincing. They were very much on point, a lot of opening picks that were quite normal to see. But Okami don't care for that. It's now 4-3, and maybe for them it's like, okay, we had a couple of bad rounds, things didn't quite go away. I won't say the L word, which is lucky, because they haven't necessarily been lucky, but they've just played a bit different in a couple of their winning rounds. Now it's time for them to play maybe more convincingly in a more normal manner, but who cares? You know what? If they want to keep playing strange, keep getting lucky rounds or whatever, who cares, Dev? As long as you get 7 or 8 of them, they don't care.
Yeah, I mean, if that kind of a bit of aggression is going to pay off, then all power to you. Make it happen. But for Knights' perspective, right, they're looking at this and saying, okay, We lost that. Strider got picked early. We had a disconnect. We're going to do exactly the same strat down to the operators and the positions, and we'll just do it better. And that tells us that Knights realized that the reason they lost was just due to those two little early mishaps. And if they rectify those, then they can continue with the same strategy. Ooh, nice job there from Okami. Ippy style found that Valkyrie camera. I mean, surely Knights are going to have a better chance on their second attempt here.
You say that. I mean, you'd probably think, if anything, surely Ippy Style doesn't find the same opening frag from the same position on the same bomb site, which is kind of what we were talking about in terms of replicating things. But, you know, replicating things is also the operator picks for Okami this round exactly the same. So all those breaches in play makes it really easy to open everything up. You got a lot of time. And this is where in that last round by now you'd have that opening pick. And it just changes things. And what you're saying for Knights here is they're just probably playing a bit safer, turtling a bit more, making it say, all right, well, we're not going to give you that opening pick this round. Let's go 5v5 and see what happens.
Oh,
What?
Was that
That's
a
what
double?
happened.
It is.
Got a double. Oh, no.
Yeah, that ain't gonna help. That's Jack and Cutie down, and I'm pretty sure the hatch was not in fact blown. That's correct. The Hibana pellets were denied successfully. Man, that's a numbers advantage that Okami is not gonna forget about. And well, fortunately, there are 2 hard breaches remaining, but I just don't see it possible that hatch is gonna open. Dino on a 4K. He's on for the ace. I don't know how this has happened. Surely it be. You can't let him do it to you.
Surely they just give him the ace, though. 40 seconds, not a lot of time. Ippy Style, to his credit, pushing in. Takes out the Goom line. To his right now, he's going to check behind server, though. Flawless round. Strider won't give the ace. But Knights will take the win. And they do say, Dev, you're 100% spot on. We weren't going to allow that again.
Dominating that was, and all on the back of, I mean, we didn't see Dino's 2 nuts shots. I don't know what happened there. I don't even know where those players are pushing from. I guess they had opened up the Moto hatch, so maybe trying to push from Moto, maybe they dropped, and well, no doubt it was information gathered from that Valkyrie camera that enabled Dino to get that double kill. Yeah. He got the double C4, and then he killed people with the MPX. And I think that the 2 people with the MPX he killed was maybe people who dropped Moto. Perhaps he was even in Arsenal and he just looked at that long angle. You can breach from that main stairs, kind of near the main stairs, looking down towards Moto. I don't know. Doesn't matter. That's surely something that Okami is going to be scratching their heads and be like, okay, let's not let that happen again. And I mean, we've seen some pretty nuts Valkyrie plays, haven't we? Ippy Style and Dino have both given us a real treat.
100%. 5-3 now. Knights deservedly in the lead. Okami trying to claw their way back. Really right now what feels like on the back of Ippy Style and Cutie, who are the main fraggers currently for Okami. Back up into the second floor with CCTV and Cash. We'll see if they can have any success here on the attacking side for Okami.
Attacker's objective is to locate a bomb and defuse it.
Dino once again on the Valkyrie. Valkyrie cameras, no doubt, will be, the black eyes will be used to try and give him a bit of extra information so we can enable these plays. That's going to be feeling pretty comfortable, but they can't let this lead slip too far against them. Attempting the Cash and CCTV bomb site for the first time. And it's fairly trivial for Joker to open up this main wall. Nice straight line at the top, nice straight line at the bottom with the blowtorch, and, well, that reinforcement will just dissipate. Strider getting a lot of good information from below, however. Calling out to his teammates exactly where those players are, particularly on this rappel out towards Kennels, but Strider also late round could have an impact, calling out player positions and maybe going for a C4 to deny that plan.
Bomb located by attackers.
Facto's got to be careful as he pushes through bedroom over towards construction. Still needs to open up a lot on this side of the map, but if he just takes a couple of shots through the walls or peeks wrong, nade or anything, He's going to go down. Could breathe on him and
Located a
it'll
bomb.
go down. Mangoes has got the diffuser. Might be looking to eventually push through the window, go for a quick plant, pop back out. We've seen it before. Over at that balcony. And Joke has found a double somewhere.
What is it with double kills happening and us just not being able to see them at all? I guess Joker on that rappel must have been a player at top red.
They didn't run out, did
Oh,
they?
no,
They
and
did run out.
They did, man. They're trying to make plays based on Strider's information, but it doesn't seem to be playing into their hands. It's all on Strider and Hayward now. Hayward tries to go for that aggressive peak, but it doesn't find its mark. Completely concussed, no audio to speak of, and he's shot in the feet, all on the pulse, and Ippy Style closes that one out. A flawless round for Okami, one step closer to tying it up.
Ibisal just celebrating there, and well, they continue to just hang around like a bad smell. 5-4. Every time it looks like Knights are going to pull away, Okami get one back. But every time it looks like Okami might go for 2 in a row, Knights pick the same site, and they're just like, okay, we're going to just do it better. We're going to do it better. We're going to win it. We're going to go 6-4. But the pulse being picked is interesting. You brought up the good point. It gave the information. You use that information to think, oh, he's repelling. Let's push him. He's not going to expect it. But he's repelling in a way that he's then able to get that quick double. I don't know what to say about that one, Dev. I mean, running out there, Kennel's balcony, bit of a strange one. But as you said, maybe baited by the pulse.
Yeah, I think Knights are trying to make plays, and Strider's trying to coordinate them using that scanner, giving information to his team, but it doesn't really matter if Knights have that information, because going for those plays is something that Okami are just watching by default, even though they're not necessarily aware that Knights have the information to make those plays. Like, it doesn't necessarily make the difference, because Okami are just watching for aggression and holding those patient angles, especially when you get the wall open so early. You just can sit there and it's nice and easy. Ooh, I like this. It's going to be a pre-play C4. Indeed it is. So that's lovely from Dino. However, if there's any drones down here in bar, they would have seen him place that. But yes, thank you very much, Marshall, our great observer. He's going to spot out the fact that that C4 will destroy anyone standing near that bed, between the bed in Master and the doorway towards construction, right where Dino's standing. So Dinos will no doubt have a camera, and if he sees someone pushing from their late round, he will detonate that C4. It should be a free kill.
Should be, that's the plan. A lot of the focus from Okami, though, has been more around this east side, around Kennels, Garage. I mean, we saw in one of the rounds earlier that they had a bit of presence, of course, going through construction with Dad, who was low, so he was pushing through a bit slowly. Josh going to take back that C4. Going to be careful to watch out for his legs. He probably feels trapped right now from Ippy style, especially after what happened in that last round where he got a couple of kills through those small holes created by Joker. Drone waiting patiently to go in.
Ooh. That C4 used. Ooh. The wall hasn't actually been properly opened. The wall wasn't properly unreinforced, so that means the Maverick missed a spot and will have to go back and do the very dangerous task of trying to fix that spot. Where is it? Is it right in the middle there? Nope, still hasn't found it. Oh, this is an embarrassment. Finally, he gets it. But Joker gets taken down really low on HP thanks to that Electroclaw zapping him as he was repelling. But finally, the job's done. Minute and a half, and Okami have completed step 1 of this attack.
See you on the other side. Drone ready.
Well, you were waiting for the Dino free kill. Doesn't quite get the C4, but he does find an opening frag onto Dad nonetheless. Not a lot of pressure coming from that construction site, so I'm not sure if that C4 is going to be used in this round. Great idea, but in the end, it obviously depends on how the attackers are going to attack and where they're going to attack from. Beauty
That's just these
sitting
Hibana
at the
pellets
Kennels
from
wall.
Cutie. And those Hibana pellets are going to enable him to spot out if Hayward stands up. Really nice usage there.
35 seconds, though. They haven't really got a whole lot of time to just keep holding an angle. They've got to make a push. They've got to make a move. Cutie, I think, understands that. Elects to push in. Clears top red, but immediately to his left, he's going to be fragged out by Josh. And now in a 4 versus 1, it's Knights that are going to go and take match point here on Clubhouse going into the next round. Ippy style though, no. Doesn't quite get the job done. Knights will indeed get that match point, 6-4.
As you mentioned, the time did really tick away there, and I wonder whether Okami felt a little bit rushed. They didn't get that main kennels wall open for 1:40, which is quite a long time. And in contrast, when we saw the way that Knights dealt with that attack, they had 2 players dealing with the main wall on kennels, and they did that in about a minute and a half, bit less. And meanwhile, 2 players from Knights were also pushing from the construction side and taking that control. So really efficient time management from Knights, and we just didn't see that demonstrated from Okami. And then following that, just pick after pick going the way of Knights and sliding that numbers advantage away from Okami. We're on match point here on Okami's map pick, and to be honest, Xenox, I'm even more puzzled as to why Okami would have chosen to take us here to Clubhouse.
Attackers need to locate and defuse bombs.
I mean, we went at pretty great lengths speaking about it. I thought I converted you. I thought I made you understand. And I don't know, I'm already assuming I know what your question is going to be in the interview. Why not Villa? Why do you pick... Yeah, I'm not surprised, but hey, look, we spoke about it. We could go probably for another hour speaking about it, but ultimately there wasn't a massive amount of decisions to make. It was really a 50-50 coin flip, and it's not like Clubhouse has been stomped 6-4,
10 seconds remaining.
and so far on Knights' defense, they haven't been able to get 2 in a row. So you're now thinking, okay, the way we've been seeing this play out, Okami are going to make this 6-5. And then if it's 6-5, you can't really criticize the map pick too much when it was down to this or Villa. And Villa's not, at least in recent times, been all that great of a success for Okami.
Look, Xenox, you make some good arguments. I'm not
But
going to...
I can't convert you.
I'm not going to pick a fight here. I'll wait until we see what Jack says after the game. But who knows? There is, as you mentioned, still definitely an opportunity for Okami to get a leg in here, because 6-4, like you're saying, it's just 2 rounds to take it to overtime. I said Knights are returning to Church Arsenal. If you recall, Okami won this on that first time around, and that was when Juicy disconnected and Ippy got that nice early pick onto Strider. And as soon as Knights didn't give away those early advantages to Okami, Knights were just so much more favored in this defense, and yeah, Okami just didn't have an answer. So will Dino be able to get 2 kills with the C4? I don't know. But surely this round will play out quite significantly differently to the previous 2 times that we've seen it played.
A bomb has been
Watch it
located.
play out exactly the same.
Well, that C4 has been prepped. That C4 has been pre-placed. I think Dino's on the camera watching for it at the moment, just waiting for Cutie or Jack Dad to push in. Jack has to be very careful. He's walking all on destructible floor now. I think he's throwing a grenade in to destroy that nitro cell. I think that's exactly what it was intended to do. No, but the nitro cell's still alive. Does get blown by Dino, but doesn't find anything. Juicy actually taken out by Cutie, so the roles are reversed, and Okami find that lead-off kill.
Located by attackers.
Well, there's still a minute in play here as well. Pushing down into the basement's going to still prove to be difficult, but with the amount of hard bridges that Okami have got available, and there's all of them, I think that it's only a matter of time now. Josh, this looks a little bit out of sorts here on Clubhouse, ever so slightly. More utility being thrown in Haywood's direction here at Church, as Toka continues to make progress on this wall. 40 seconds, don't want to leave it to the last second though, Okami. Try and get a bit more presence towards these sites and get some shots in. Otherwise, that 20-second meta is about to be coming into fruition.
Dino does find a kill on... Goodness, getting aggressive now on Tomoto. It's a 3-on-3 all of a sudden. 20 seconds left and no diffuser in Okami's hands. He can find another one, but how much further can he take it? Trying to duel with the player on the hatch, and Josh wins that one. 2 versus 2, it's a trade once again. 2 versus 1, but 5 seconds. Jack that has that diffuser, and Haywood can just wait patiently. Can he deny this plan? He hears it, but Okami do just steal it away at the end. It be Style and Jack Daddy for the clutch. And that takes us all the way to the 12th round here on Clubhouse.
What did I say? What did I say? Still, no 2 in a row on the defense for Knights. 6-5. But if we're going off this theme, this trend, 7-5 is potentially the resting place of where Clubhouse will finish in favor of Knights, of course. But Church and Arsenal, and in fact, this would complete the entire trend, which has been lose site, win site, exact same site. We're going to choose it again and then win it the next round. If it happens, well, I mean, you can sum up this entire match just based off around that motto.
Yep, the attackers win it the first time. The defenders fix up the mistakes and win it the second time. That said, I've got to credit Okami. It wasn't like they... the first time they won Church and Arsenal, at the very first round of this half, like I was saying, there was a disconnect. So Juicy was just a null factor. Strider was picked early by Ipi, and then you're basically playing a 3v5 for most of the round. So of course Knights aren't going to win that one. But then the second time, they did a lot better. Dino got 4 really quite crazy kills at the start of the round. And Okami, like, you're not going to win that one. Those are the things that... The way that those rounds played out, like, that's not going to happen every time, right? And then finally, we saw a round which kind of played out more naturally, more realistically, and more consistently with how we'd expect it to be played out. And Okami did win it. So that does give me confidence for them here. And I can totally see us heading to overtime. We spot out 2 of the Valkyrie cameras placed by Dino, both used to try to engage those C4s. Managed to miss his C4 last time, but hopefully he might do a little bit better this time. And from Okami, I just want to touch on their attacking strategy here, and part of the mentality of bringing all 3 hard breaches. So Cutie uses all 3 of his X-Kairos pellets on that kitchen hatch because Josh is going to try and impact trick it, but if Josh only has 2 impacts and Cutie has 3 X-Kairos, then, well, Cutie's still going to have more utility by the end of it. And also, particularly how Joker used his Maverick to open up just a low hole along that church wall. It allows a player from the attack to go prone at bottom of main stairs and just nullify most of the positions inside of church. Didn't end up really making a difference, but it's a nice strategy that Okami implemented. We might see it again here.
Already down to the 2-minute mark. There's Okami make their way in. It's going to be Turtling Knights, no roamers, playing it safe. Saying that, we have seen that roaming from basement has been successful for multiple different teams over the course of tonight. Knights aren't going to elect to do it. They don't want to go to overtime, but at the same time, you also need a player to win this round. You can't play and hope that Okami mess up. Because as you made very, very evident, Dev, for once, Okami didn't quite just get, not lucky, but something that couldn't quite be replicated. They actually just played sublimely well. Won their fights in a very even manner. There's the C4, though, from Dino. We've been speaking about it the last couple of rounds. He takes out Cutie. And that's going to give the edge to Knights. It's a very, very cruel game sometimes, but Knights now got a 5v4 advantage. 1 minute left. Okami have been done by Little Nitro Cell.
Yeah, and it being Cutie that was taken out means that that hatch is never going to get opened. 50 seconds for Okami to figure out how else they'll deal with this, but fortunately with running 3 hard breaches, they do have several other avenues open. I believe Jack Daddy was entering dirt, which is opened no doubt by the thermite previously. He's used both of his charges. Joker hasn't opted to open up those angles that he previously did on the church wall. He may do so now. Jack Daddy attempting to flank in through dirt. Cautious Elysian Mines, but I don't think anyone's aware of his position. 25 seconds, and match point is on the line.
2 nades still in hand as well for Jack Dad. Even if he doesn't really find a kill here, at least he puts a bit of presence over in dirt as the kill feed is going in favor of Okami. They now actually have the numbers advantage. The nade, but he just steps on the Q mine, still throws it in the right corner. Juicy's just holding right side though to Jack Dad. The numbers just continue to go the way though of Okami. They turn the tide. It was all in favor of Knights for the majority of that round, but Ippy Style and Co just walk in, they waltz in, and they send us to overtime.
What a way to get that round going. Mangoes with 2 and Ippy Style to close it. Man, that was, I mean, I feel like that should never have happened from Okami. Knights had such a strong hold on site. They had numbers advantage, and yet Okami just piece by piece managed to push on in. There was no answer from Knights whatsoever, and slowly the sand started to tip out until there was just nothing left in the tank for Knights.
Wow. All I can say is at one point it was 4-1. Since then, it's been, what, 2-5 in favor of Okami. A very different storyline. I mean, Dev, imagine if we had started this match on Clubhouse and it was 5-2 in favor of Okami. You'd be thinking, Jesus, what's going on? But this has been a hell of a match on Clubhouse. We've definitely gotten what we thought would happen. It's lived up to the bill now. At one point, it looked like maybe it wasn't going to, that you jinxed it. Well, I can say, Dev, you haven't jinxed anything, buddy. We've got exactly what we thought we were going to get.
Yeah, and one thing to note is we've had 2-4-2 halves on Clubhouse that favored the attack. And now with Knights starting out on the attacking side on paper, that does give them the upper hand here, as the attacking side has been favored thus far 8 rounds to 4. But it's on Okami here to come out strong on their defense. They're going to do this SSG roam that we did see from them so early on when they were on their defense in the first half. And look, it wasn't very successful, to be honest, at all. They did win it twice, both times on the back of very aggressive plays. And look, it's Knights who will try to get aggressive here. And Okami seemed to be putting a stop perfectly in its tracks.
Maybe they were expecting that roam to come out, so they thought, let's just push straight for the bomb site. Instead, though, Mangoes and co ready for it. Only Josh remains. Oh, that's backfired dramatically for Knights. I didn't even really get time to talk about what I wanted to talk about that round, but in the end, what I was going to say, Dev, was that this was a crucial attack for Knights. You mentioned it. A lot of the round wins in this series have been attacker-sided. They lose it now. Okami have got overtime match point, and they're on the attack.
If Okami win this map, they're going to leapfrog straight over Pittsburgh Knights and retake that 3rd place on the standings that Knights stole from them last week. Remember here that Okami have a tough end to the season with some serious opponents still on the gate with Elevate and Wildcard next week. They need to lock out as many points as possible here. And for the first time in this game, they're seeing match point after what we could call a reverse sweep. Okami need to lock this out here for their chances of holding on to that top 4 spot they have resided in for the majority of this season. And it really came down to that previous round. Knights making a really unfortunate judgment call for that rush. It just was not the play. And Okami punished it so rightly. Now Knights switched onto their defense. They have the pressure on. They need to hold on to this and take it all the way to round number 15, because if not, Okami are going to leapfrog them on the standings and take that 3rd spot away from them.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but did not Knights lose every single defense round first up before they rectified it the next round?
That is correct.
Yeah.
But
and
that
now
pattern was broken at the end when Okami won both Church and Arsenal attacks in a row.
I just leave that part out. Besides that part, right? Now, they're going to have to win their defense first up to stop this match point of Okami. This is where it gets tricky as well. Then you look at the pulse from Strider. First time we saw that, didn't quite work out. Potentially baited a couple of his teammates to head up onto Kennels. And with a very similar bomb site, well, the similar bomb site, it's the exact same bomb site, CCTV and Cash. Might that just happen again? In fact, he's even looking straight at Joker, Ippy style. This is the final 2 minutes potentially, and Okami have completed a very, very strong comeback, Dev, if they go on to win this match on Clubhouse. And I think you're going to have to find a new question for the interview.
You see, Josh was so desperate there, contesting the Kennels wall. He wanted to kill Joker. He wanted to get something out of it, but he knew it was just too dangerous. Now, I wonder whether Dino has a pre-placed C4 back in bedroom like he did previously, because Mangoes and Josh have both droned that side up. Sorry, not Josh. I'm not sure which player it was from Okami, but no doubt before long, Jack Daddy and co will start to push in from the con side. There you go, Jack Daddy and Cutie together. Drones to watch. Jack Daddy on flank watch, but there's a lot of action on this Kennel side. Knights are just lying in wait. Strider down below as well, ready to go for a C4 if needed.
Strider doesn't need the C4. Just take out Epistol. That's probably the one player that you really want to take out first up. The entry fragger of Okami is down. But there's presence over in construction. Clear out these ADSs. And the utility of Knights, who are still 3 strong on site. 1 in rafters as well of garage. So it just leaves Strider roaming around down below. Mostly turtling, for the most part. Juicy takes a bit of damage, has to fall back here in cash. Considering how low Josh is as well, never mind. As soon as I mention it, he does go down to Cutie. Now it's a 4 versus 4. 35 seconds remaining as we're starting to see the entry, the push, the shots from Okami. And they've completely cleared out this construction site, this west side of the bomb sites. Everyone is now fallen back over to, say, like top red, for example. I think there's still 1 in garage, and then Strider roaming down below, second floor. As Dino takes out Mangoes, the return fire has to come from Jack Dad. Cutie's going to get Hayward, 17 seconds, the double kill. 1 versus 3, Strider, overtime match point. It's yours to stop. For the barbed wire, that's in his way. And along with that is going to be Joker in his way. Top right, Okami. What a comeback win on Clubhouse. It was 4-1. They take it in the end in a very convincing manner, 8-6.
This is my first time seeing the beautiful Zephyr Elite animation. Brand new, well-deserved MVP for Ippy Style, and that was a grueling experience. 23 kills!
Wow.
What? I had no idea. I had kept an eye on the score. 23 and 8. What is that? An 8-6 hard-fought victory for LFO, proving me wrong, proving me the skeptic about Clubhouse. And, well, it wasn't easy for sure, but they do nail the coffin for which they wanted to seal in Knights. And, man, that was just a non-stop ride. And to come back from 6-4 to 8-6 with a 4-round win streak, incredibly impressive for Okami.
Really, if you take out those first 6 rounds, it was a 7-2 win technically from that point onwards for Okami. And we had at very different times different tunes about how the round was going. At 4-1, it was like, man, like legitimately Knights were like all over Okami. The rounds that Okami had then subsequently won weren't something that was, say, dominating. They got a couple of cheeky kills, and from there, Knights were able to then respond, say, in the next round. But did they ever step up on their attacking side? That's to say, ridiculous from Okami.
I think that the real key round there for both teams was that failed rush. On 6-6 overtime, Knights saw that Okami were doing that SSG roam strat, and they thought, oh, guys, let's just do a blue rush. It's the most tempting thing. Whenever you see that, oh, blue is just free, we can surely go in, and it did not work. And I mean, what a hard-fought map. Okami well-deserved on the win.
100%. We've definitely got a series on our hand in the end. Okami do actually get their map pick as a win. 1-0 in the series. Kafe on the other side of the break.
Bomb located by attackers located the bomb by attackers. Attackers bomb.
This time, I'm in trouble. It's your eyes, I can't seem to focus. It doesn't matter cause you live a lie. You want attention from every guy in the park. But when you call, give you my heart, you rip it out. I can't pretend to like you. I hope you feel the same. I take a chance and not lose. I can't pretend to like you. I can't pretend to like you. I hope you feel the same. I take a chance and not lose. I can't pretend to like you. I can't pretend to like you. I hope you feel the same. I take a chance and not take a chance. I can't pretend to like you.
Under peach yellow skies, dreaming big and aiming high. Name the clouds passing by, wishing we run away. All we need is our passports, baby. Leave the rest in our troubled minds. Let us go down in laughter, baby. Trying to figure out what we're after. We're never heading back until we're older. We couldn't care no more, not any longer. Under peach yellow skies, we keep on searching, but we will never know what we're after. Book a plane, fly away. We will never be the same. And as long as you are mine, come on and run away. We wanna run away. We don't need any reasons, baby. Leave it all for the faded hearts. I don't mind if they call us crazy, cause they don't understand what we're after. We're never heading back until we're older. We couldn't care no more, not any
Three maps in the books tonight, one more still to be played, and well, we had an absolute barnstormer of a match between Knights and Okami Dev as we head into what is going to be the final map of the series, end of the night. I'm excited. We got a 6-8. It went in Okami's favor. Will we see it replicated though heading into Kafe?
I mean, we could see Knights come back. They were so strong, especially on their attacking half on Clubhouse, which was Okami's pick, but now we're back on Knights' home turf. It is Kafe. They won it last week 7-2, oh so convincingly against Elevate. They also won it against Kanga, the same scoreline. So we know this is a map that Knights are good on, and we know Okami has been pushed to their limits despite some good performances on Kafe, a 7-5 against Sinister. And then earlier in the season, they actually almost lost it to Kanga, just clawing over 8-6. So I think that this is going to be another map where both of these teams are really good, and they're going to have to fight tooth and nail for those 3 points at the end of the rainbow.
Yeah, 100%. Look, at the end of the day, though, both are 2-1 on Kafe this season of 6 Masters, and it's very much a reason why, as you can see, the poll vote, this was always going to be a bit of a split. Right now, though, for the 45% that chose Knights. That's no longer a possibility. They dropped Clubhouse. Okami ended up picking up their map pick. The 13% that said draw. I'm part of that 13%, Dev. I don't know. You're making the case now for Knights coming into Kafe. If that happens, the draw is then likely.
I actually put, for my snowball predictions, I put draw for every single match this week. Partly because I thought that a lot of them, had a chance to be a draw because Six Masters is super close, but also as a bit of fun. And I totally think it's possible here, especially with how good Knights were on their attacks, how in sync they were. They could definitely take it on their own pick.
We head to Kafe for the final map of the night. I'm sure it's to cook up a storm between Knights and Okami. Clubhouse definitely brought it. It was 6-8 to Okami. But Knights now look to bounce back. Have fun, and good luck, Go to the ban phase. And, well, now this is where I'm sure we'll probably get, the usual bans, which isn't too surprising. In saying that, my guess this one's like Maverick, Miro going to get banned out. Those are my two guesses.
Yep, and Thatcher's also another pretty safe bet. I wouldn't be surprised since the Thatcher's been banned out. Maybe you want to leave that Maverick in, otherwise you're just really hamstringing yourself on the attacking side. So maybe we'll see a bit of variation there. It is Knights, so I mean, if it was a Okami, I would just say they're probably just going to get rid of the Ying as a comfort ban. But I mean, let's roll it out and see what we reckon after it comes through. Maverick, wow, okay. There you go. I'm going to give you a little bit of a golf clap there, Xenox. You can't see it.
I mean, you still brought up. I can't see it. That's fine. I can feel it in my heart. But you brought up the point, the Thatcher, the Maverick, kind of counteracting each other. But look, I think I expected the Maverick, not you, but I expected the Maverick mainly because it's been banned out a lot of times on Kafe. For Maverick itself, that's the map he's usually banned on. The Mirror, no surprise, especially with the way that sort of Mirror's ban rate has gone up now that Ying's ban rate's gone down. I know they don't really sort of correlate between each other, but it's like someone's got to rule them all in terms of being the most banned, and Mirror's now taken that sort of throne, I guess you could say.
Yeah, and I mean, covering those defenses, Mirror and Echo, pretty staple stuff. A lot of good information gathering. Really strong anchor operators, Echo for plant denial, Mirror just for fortifying those anchor positions where you can play aggressively around those windows. So yeah, just going to get rid of those. But yeah, I mean, talking about these attacker bans, which I think is really what's interesting here. We've got Thatcher banned, and then Knights had this decision. Do they want to get rid of the Maverick, as you're saying, very common and very powerful on this map, or do you want to get rid of something else? And they did get rid of that Maverick, and where that kind of leaves us is a position where wall denial operators, there is just almost no effective counters for them. And you really have to try to change the way that you attack. If the defenders have a Kaid, a mute, maybe Jack is going to pick a Kaid here. There you go. So I think that's a read from Jack that he's saying, look, Maverick's banned, Thatcher's banned. We're going to abuse this wall denial as much as possible. And so, for example, if you're talking about bar backstore and that wall that so commonly gets attempted to be opened up from piano into bar backstore, there is a soft floor below it, but with you not being able to Thatcher or Maverick off that electric claw, you're really just going to have to go downstairs into reading, maybe with your IQ, and try and remove that electric claw. But there are some cheeky little places that you can put these Kaid electric claws where they can't actually be shot. So there's going to be a huge task for both of these teams when they're on the attack to try and figure out how to deal with this wall denial.
10 seconds remaining.
I like the Goyo pick as well. We didn't see it, I don't believe, at all on Kafe in the last series between LFO and Sinister this evening. Typically, you might just see the shield placed down over it. Yeah, I don't remember it either. He just plays that shield down at Pixels, the usual place, or just above White Stairs. If you're going to play a bit further back, depending on how you want to sort of play this bar cocktail defense. Not sure exactly. I'm assuming he's placed it for Ippy style.
I mean, yeah, I can't tell at the moment. Yeah, it is a Goyo shield. There you go, Vulcan shield, I should say. I don't know where his second one was, but yeah, Goyo actually one of those operators, came in quite powerfully into the meta when he was released. And of ANZ teams, it really was Okami who embraced that Goyo. Look at that, Ippy style just protected, but finally the Vulcan shield is destroyed. A lot of utility filed in from Knights, but very efficient stuff. And then a Capital Firebolt on top of it, really to just burn him out of that corner, and the first pick. Man, Knights They may have lost that heartbreaking map on Clubhouse, but they're coming in with a storm here on Kafe.
Scanning. Bomb detected.
Can't get ahead of themselves though. They started amazingly in Clubhouse. For those who missed it, they were up 4-1 before Okami literally stormed back 7-2 from that point onwards. So a fast start here in Kafe may not tell the entire story. In fact, the round's not even over yet. Josh is low. I know Ippy Style's about half health. That's a bit better though. Dino gets Cutie, and from here it should be easier for Knights. Bar and Cocktail has not been the defender's best friend this season. That might just be the case. And for Okami, I don't read too much into this. I want to see how they play, you know, reading in Fireplace, for example. Are they able to make that really difficult to take for the attackers? And the kitchen's the deciding factor in a lot of this as well, where more mixed results. Minute left. And there's at least something back now from Ippy Style. Joker roaming below. He does spot someone outside, repelling. No, just standing. Minute left though.
Joker loitering downstairs with the C4 in his pocket, ready to use. And Dino, been such a hot fire player recently, gets aggressive and takes out Style. Jack and Joker both low on HP. Dino as well, but he pushes aggressively into bar backstore. SMG 11 in hand, and oh my goodness, this is gonna be one hell of a kill cam right here.
Well, from our point of view, I was expecting the trade back. We actually just saw where that second Vulcan shield, if you want to go into the correct terms, was placed in Cocktail. I was expecting the trade from the angle that we were being placed at, but well, never really in doubt. Never in doubt in my eyes there. Great start for Knights on their attack for Kafe. Bar and Cocktail going to be switched over to Kitchen, service and cooking. And I mentioned it in that last round, Dev, but this is where, you know, sort of the coin flip can lie depending on how, you know, the C4 games played, a very, very prominent part of Kitchen, and how we're going to see Okami play this on defense.
Well, I think it's telling in itself the fact that they have rotated downstairs instead of loitering up top. I think partially just because of how proficient Knights were, particularly in clearing of the utility and eliminating that spot at Pixel just so quickly. But now on top of that, of course, I've talked about how that Maverick and Thatcher have been banned both, which really does change the kind of layout of things for the defense of this particular bomb site, because there are so many walls that come into question for the attackers to attempt to hard breach. So you've got the bakery wall, you've got the garage wall, depending on how the setup comes out. And this really does mean that the attackers with no Thatcher, no Maverick, you really need to be going upstairs and clearing out utility by opening the floor above the objective and taking out those players. Jack Daddy's actually in a position where he wants to bandit trick, not opting for the Kaid, but this bandit and his batteries will have to be cleared from above if Knights want any opportunity to open that bakery wall.
And I'm also just looking to see how much presence there is on that second floor. We haven't seen it too often. But at times, some teams do like to maybe place someone around, say, train, mining at times. But typically, if you're going to have any sort of presence, it's maybe around the stairs, red or white stairs. Probably more so white stairs, whereas it looks like Joker's holding, because it gives you more of an avenue to fall back. You can hold the stairs, say, like second floor, and then fall back down to the first floor really easily. Whereas if you're sitting in train and mining, you're just not going to have that easy accessibility to get back down into the first floor. So Joker kind of roaming around white stairs, going up and down, depending on how he's feeling at any given time. Mango's close by. Although Josh, now the top of white stairs, is going to be pushing down. Minute 47 seconds. Knights just clearing through.
It has taken quite some time, but that's primarily due to the mute jammers that Joker has placed upstairs. A smart move. Yeah, that's a, I was going to say Valkyrie camera, but there's no Valkyrie. I guess it's maybe a hacked drone from Cutie. Ooh, C4 comes out. Oh no, that's going to be a freebie. Surely he spots out the player on the camera, but he just can't get it around the bars. Oh my goodness. There's absolutely no idea that Cutie realized what just happened.
Been given a lifeline. a second chance, a reprieve. A minute remaining, still alive. It could have very well been 4-5 in favor of Knights. Cutie stays alive. Just barely. And as you said, probably not even realizing how close he was to be taken down. And because he stayed alive, he's able to go on and get Juicy. The trade after losing Jack Dad. 4v4, 45 seconds. Eventually it does go down to Haywood, who almost got him in the first place. But there's the push-up. Ippy style takes out Haywood. Mangoes will get Dino, who was also electing to push up onto that second floor. And while they didn't start on the second floor, Dev, they were always ready to push up the stairs if need be. 27 seconds, Knights in disarray.
20 seconds left and just 2 players for the attack, but only 2 players to find on the defense as well. As you mentioned, Mango had rotated upstairs. Joker in an unusual position. Josh not likely aware. The flank comes around and the Mute does find that kill. It's a 2 versus 1 and the trade comes out. Strider still, there's a chance for him here. 4 seconds in the round, 3 seconds left on the diffuser to plant it down. Mango's trying to retake it now, but Strider so low on HP. This is definitely possible for Mangoes.
Strider just sitting on the diffuser. I don't know. Maybe felt like he had nowhere else to go. Either way, Mangoes probably always had an easy task to counter diffuse. As you mentioned, the low HP.
I mean, it was a good effort, right, from Strider. It was a 1 versus 2. But yeah, maybe you could say, what if this, what if that, about that kind of last moment there, where after he got that diffuser down, how to play the post plant, but just such a difficult position. I think he was so worried about trying to relocate that he decided, if I'm going to be exposed while trying to move, I'm just going to stay here. Pika's advantage and low HP were not his friend in that final engagement. But Okami, look, they continue the trend of losing 1 defense and then rectifying it, but they will eventually have to go back to Bar Cocktail. We've talked about how it's maybe not as popular as it was in the past, but here reading is going to be next on the agenda.
Defenders, protect your bombs from being defused by attackers.
The 1 defense curse has afflicted both sides now. Although, this is where, if Knights can break the curse, and, well, not break the curse, actually, if the curse continues here, then, sorry, I should say, then that would be horrible for Okami, because this should very well be the hardest site to take. The Goyo as well, if he's going to place it at Pixel, and then I presume the second one's going to go at Cocktail again, like we saw in the first round. There's going to be a lot of presence up on this 3rd floor. It takes so much time to clear it all out. Usually you've only got 40 seconds left at that point, and if you haven't then lost anyone either, it makes it so difficult for the attackers.
Interesting to see 0 reinforcements placed on the bar backstore wall from Piano, but fortunately there is from top white into bar backstore. That's fully reinforced. A mute jammer means that there's absolutely no way Knights can get that wall open because there's no Maverick and no Thatcher, so it's just not going to happen. Likewise on the wall in washrooms, Ippy style aggressive at Pixel. He has this Vulcan shield to protect him, but we know Ippy, like, he always plays aggressively on these angles. He's not just going to sit there and take it and play safely on the shield. He's going to get aggressive.
It's also the situation where Knights should be pre-firing that and being aware of the playstyle of Ippy style and sort of the... Oh, they'll definitely know all about the strat. And completely clear out Pixel. Power of the Capital. 2 minutes. Well, they're not going to be able to get through washroom, but they're really just going to get funneled back out to bar. Regardless, like you said, because the bar backstore wall's not going to be able to be taken down. Regardless, I guess, for Okami's sake, they get everything that they still wanted in the end, regardless of this current push from Knights.
And 2 more picks come out. Joker ready with a pre-placed C4. Does get Dino there, and another one for beat. Mangoes for his 2nd kill in the round. All Strider now finds it B, but surely they won't give him any rest here. Cautious of every angle. 4 versus 1. Strider, what have you got for us, mate? Let's go out in style, surely. A little bit of a drone there. Keep him company. He's going to lose this long fight. No way he's winning this against Cutie. Surely not. Low HP now. Just delaying the inevitable. Come on, Strider! I mean, it really fell apart when Okami just had pick after pick, right? And, I mean, there was just no chance of Knights furthering this. There you go. Finally! I mean, I feel like the anticipation was just killing me. It went on for like 30 seconds. Just trying to get in their heads, I guess, with Strider. But, I mean, what happened there? I mean, there was just pick after pick. Mango's got one nice and early onto Hayward. We didn't really call it out while it was happening, but I'm pretty sure that was a player repelling out on the... oh, I don't know, is it the east side? Yeah, the east windows. So the windows of Cocktail. I think there was a player out there, and Mango's got that nice early pick. And then Ippy, despite being forced off Pixel, the Knights were pretty quick at clearing that utility and pretty efficient. It didn't really matter for Okami because Knights just didn't seem super proficient at actually taking control of Cocktail itself. We saw that C4 from below thanks to Dino, and aided somewhat by that barricade that was placed on the bar backstore wall into bar, really restricting the movement of the Knights players and funneling the attackers into the avenues that, well, the avenues that Okami wanted them to be in.
Well, we go back to bar and Cocktail. Okami were unsuccessful the first go around. It was the first round. Knights on that one pretty convincingly. I did take the time. Don't take too much note of that one round, though. We needed to see a bit more. We needed to see how Kitchen was going to play out. Second floor with Reading and Fireplace. We've seen those now, Dev. And since then now, 2 rounds in a row to Okami. We come back to bar and Cocktail. You win this 3-1. And Okami continue to sort of roll on from Clubhouse if they can win this round. Knights need to even it up here. And the pressure is definitely on the back of them, right? This is going to be one of the last chances they're going to be able to take maps, because next week they've got Wildcard. Wait, no, they don't have Wild... Yeah, they do have Wildcard. I looked at the wrong for a second. They've got Wildcard next week. And
Elevate.
we kind of...
Oh, sorry, are you talking Knights or Okami?
No, Knights.
Oh, right. Sorry.
I mean, look, okay, both of them have got Wildcard next week, but from from Knights' perspective, it's actually their last match, right, against Wildcard, and that's going to be difficult. I'm not going to say that they're going to get, 2-0'd. They might get a map at best. I don't see them 2-0 in Wildcard, so the fact that they've already dropped one map to Okami here, they need to get Kafe. Otherwise, I'm going to call it, if they lose this map on Kafe, I don't see them making top 4.
Fighting words there, but I think you're right, Xenox. They're really... It comes down to this for Knights. I mean, you can't bank on getting points off of Wildcard. They are the #1 team in the league, or at least... I mean, Sinister have technically taken that mantle, but Wildcard are yet to play as many games as Sinister. So I think it's safe to say Wildcard are the most esteemed team in the 6 Masters. No chance that Knights can guarantee they'll get points there. They need to get points here. Okami on the flip side, they've got challenging games next week as well. Not only Wildcard, but also Elevate to face. So in order to secure not only top 4, but Okami are a team who are pushing for even further than that. Top 2, no doubt. They need to make short work of Knights here on Kafe.
Yeah. And, oh, geez, it's been a pretty quick round already. 1 minute 20. Not a lot of time. It's a stall, it's a standstill at the moment. Dino's got Pixel, but hasn't really been able to confirm White Corridor, White Stairs from there. Only with a minute remaining. This is not really looking great for Knights, but on 22nd meta, all it takes is a quick push in, a couple of frags as Josh gets mangoes, and it can quickly turn in their favor. Now Okami are on the back foot. Very much so at this point. He's just going to try and smoke out Washrooms for as much longer as he can. But this is just pick after pick, but in the favor of Knights. The round that they had to win, looks very likely that they could go on and win it. Only Jack Dad and Cutie remain. They do have a lot of presence here, but never mind. Cutie goes down in Washrooms, and Jack Dad needs a 1 versus 5. Not going to happen. Trying to go for the plant, and Knights will tie it up 2-2.
Does eventually happen. It's locked out from being a flawless round thanks to Jack at the end there, but as you mentioned, Knights, they won the round that they oh so needed so strongly. It looked a bit worrying there for quite some time. Okami seemed to lock out Knights any opportunity of progressing forth. Really strong hold, particularly from Cutie inside of washrooms with, I think it was Joker playing on the shield, holding down White Hallway, and it looked like Knights that just had no opportunity of progressing forth. And a lot of kills happened off screen, no doubt towards the bar and cocktail side, and that really just left those few players who were still safe in positions much more exposed, because the ground that their teammates were previously holding was just taken away from them. And of course, that numbers advantage continued to slide towards Knights. So even Stevens here, 2-2. We need to see Okami continue to knock this one out. On the flip side of that, it is, of course, Knights' map pick here, and you mentioned what's at stake for them. This could be their last opportunity to get more points, and in the league at the moment, sitting on 18 points. It's quite commendable for Knights, but there are teams, Elevate, Okami, look, even LFO, who do have the opportunity to still edge out more points than Pittsburgh Knights still have the possibility to get.
5 seconds left before insertion.
100%. Playing with that pressure.
Attacker's objective is to locate a bomb.
Some teams it elevates them, others you can crumble under it. For Knights, we're about to see what they're made of, because they're in a tricky situation. Clubhouse turned against them after a great start. Fighting tooth and nail here against Okami now on Kafe, but if this trend continues, we might see 2-4 if Okami can take and hold, not necessarily take it, but hold kitchen and then second floor, reading in fireplace. After that, you'd think is obviously going to come after. That would be what, 2-4, then going into another bar and cocktail. Well, actually, no, then it would switch halves, but you get my point here. So if they can close out this half 2-4, this is not looking good for Knights. They've got to break even here. They've got to get one of these, either kitchen or reading in fireplace after this.
And remember here that Knights actually have come off a recent roster change. Josh was brought on the roster and made his debut just last week. And he's been playing quite well so far. I can't really say that I've seen any amazing impact plays, but the guy's been having his debut in the pro level quite well, and I think Knights have been really happy, especially with last week, the 2-0 against Elevate. And I think winning both maps against Elevate last week really set an expectation for Knights heading into the rest of the season. It got them that third spot on the standings, and now there's almost an expectation that they're going to stay there and potentially progress forward. But as we've mentioned, it's Okami and Wildcard, which Knights are still to face, and it's already proved to be very difficult against Okami here, and no doubt it's going to continue even more so next week.
Style just roaming up red stairs may catch someone off guard. He does, but he doesn't confirm it. In fact, he did like almost no damage to Hayward. How did Hayward survive? Not only how did he survive that, but how did he take such little damage? Style must be fuming that he wasn't able to confirm that.
Attackers have located a bomb.
Hayward's been taking training from Morpheus, I guess. Learning to dodge bullets. And now we really see Knights opening up above the bomb site, attempting to clear out these anchors. But you'll notice that a lot of players from the defensive Okami have moved to different positions. Joker, rather Mangoes, on this flank has been spotted. Knights haven't found any picks here, and that's really the problem. Time's ticking away, just under 30 seconds now remaining, and still no prospects of actually executing onto the bomb site.
Well, 13 seconds remaining. No prospects or not, you're going to have to push in, whether you like it or not. And getting that early pick on Style is certainly going to help. There's a second one that's found, but immediately traded back. Losing 2. Strider's got in. He's going to get that plant down.
No.
Choosing for cover. Never mind, he's not getting anything down. Okami, not much of a surprise considering the way that round was going. They didn't have a lot of time, did Knights. They win kitchen. We go 2-3, and most likely we go second floor, reading in fireplace.
And while it did take a very long time and Knights failed to find any picks onto Okami, it did look like there was an opportunity there on the back of opening up those angles into the kitchen from Bakery. And I think that's what we didn't see, you know, when we were spectating above, we didn't necessarily have full visibility on what was happening on Bakery. But, you know, Knights did make some good progress there. But as you mentioned, just time was running out. And there was, by the end of it, so many players from Okami still up that even as Knights attempted to force that plant down, even under cover of smoke, there's just so many players from Okami who can keep refragging, keep pushing that and making it absolute hell to try to plant it.
But this is the test now, isn't it? Right, can Knights tie up the half 3-3? If they're able to do that, I think then it comes down to their defense. If they're able to hold, then second floor, first floor goes a long way. If Okami win this, all they gave up was bar and cocktail. That means they just have to replicate that on their attack. Take bar and cocktail plus one more, either second floor, first floor, and then they'll go on and win the map, which would then be their second win of the night. It would be a 2-0 to Okami. Still, a lot of time to be played, a lot of rounds to be played, but you kind of back Okami to take this site, right? So Knights are on the back foot coming into this round.
And I did mention the newest addition to this Knights roster, Josh, in the previous round, but he's actually been showing up on this map so far. I know it's still pretty early days, but he's got still 1 kill per round, and 5 kills at the moment, and 3 of those have been opening engagements. In fact, the last 2 rounds in a row, as an entry fragger, he's found the opening. So he has been pulling his weight for his team and helping to fulfill his role. As you'll see, Josh, just so frequently the first man to be taking these angles, the first player from Knights to be getting aggressive. And here's the utility spam coming on out to clear out that pixel position. Dino's inside as well, another player who's been showing up hugely for Knights. Nice and aggressive inside of Piano. Hayward as well. Knights wasting no time at all. But we know how much they can stall when it comes to that bar and that white hallway. It's really fell apart in their last defense. We know how good Okami are when it comes to this position.
The goal is to just try and flush them out as quick as possible. You might even have to trade 1-for-1. If I'm Knights in this situation, I'd rather go down to a 4v4, but gain position of this third floor, and then obviously entailing that, you're going to get cocktail. Goodbye to Josh. All that praise from Dev, and then he gets blown up from Jack Dad with the C4, and the entry fragger that, as you said, had been getting a kill around, and for the last 2 rounds had opened it up, is out. Makes it hard for Knights. Hayward gets caught backstall, fires a few shots back, but they've really not gained any sort of position here on this third floor. Minute 10 seconds remaining. To the credit though of Okami, they're really holding this longer than some other teams may have. Around the minute mark, most teams would just drop down the hatch and back off. Because of reasons like that, you don't then want to give away any of your players that you could have just fallen back, repositioned down in the second floor. Now it's a 4 versus 3, 48 seconds. Knights have been giving a reprieve. They've got a chance here.
That said, Strider and Hayward both just so low on HP. We also know that Juicy attempting to go for these plants using that cover of smoke just hasn't been working out for Knights. Ooh, spots that player through the floor, takes a lot of damage. The Joker gets out of dodge in time. Another player holding down pillars. Okami, with just 20 seconds left, is still in a great position to clutch this round away from Knights.
15 seconds remaining.
3 versus 3, 15 seconds remaining. Ipistol straight back into fireplace. You mentioned that Hayward and Strider are very low. It makes it super hard for them to sort of get into a firefight and push in. Strider's going to go for the plant. As Dino goes in, does get an opening frag, but not much more to follow after that. 1 versus 1. Joker, shotgun, but a very low health Strider. Double kill. Not sure why he's still checking the door, unless the ghost of someone comes rushing through. Joker, you're going to get the defuse. And Okami are going to take the first half. 2-4 in their favor for the defensive side.
Down to the wire in those last moments, and Okami just played the patient games. They had those positions, and Knights didn't know where those remaining Okami players were. Managed to get the plant down, but as you mentioned, in that 1 versus 1, Strider once again just coming off that plant in such an unenviable position, and Joker to clutch it out. And a good start for Okami. Now, I won't say those rounds weren't close, because a lot of them really were, and Knights got very close, but You've highlighted that Knights, this is their opportunity right now. Next week, they're playing against Wildcard, who are by no means undefeatable, but it's going to be a serious challenge. And if Knights want to assure themselves that top 4, well, they need to get points here. And that means they need to have an incredible defensive half starting right now.
Bombs from being defused by attackers.
And starting on Bar and Cocktail too might be the wise choice. Making sure that if they can then win this round, builds a bit of confidence, goes 3-4, put a bit of doubt into the minds of Okami, because really when we look at the 3 bomb sites that are being played, this is the weakest one compared to Kitchen and compared to Reading and Fireplace. And so if Okami don't win this round...
Because, like, I just want to say, like, a lot of people are probably sitting there thinking, what do you mean? Bar is always the first choice bomb site. But you've got evidence to back that up, right? In that first half, Okami won both of their Kitchen defenses, both of their Reading defenses, but they didn't win Bar once.
But that's not just in this matchup either. This has been going on for weeks now in Six Masters, where it's proven to be the weaker of the sites. Kitchen's a bit more of a flip. We've seen Kitchen go both ways, but this is very much a test now for Knights on defense. You win this round, you go 3-4, and you build a lot more confidence then going into your next 2 bomb sides. And then that means a 5-4 scoreline looks very viable.
Detected a bomb. If it runs on batteries, I'll
If Style had a huge first game, 23 kills, 2.75 KD, I think it was at the end of it. And he's on the Ash now. I coined the term Ash license. It's when you get 10 kills, you can switch onto the Ash. You get your Ash license because, you know, if you're popping off, you just get that license to frag out. Bit of a meme, but, you know, Ash in reality is actually a very powerful utility operator. She has 3 flashbangs, which are great for wasting magnets and ADSs. And on top of that, 2 explosives, which are great in this meta in particular for clearing shields. But there's no shield at Pixel from Knights. None at all. Hippie Style going to get himself into Piano nice on. Quite a few players from Okami beginning to set things up. Hippie Style to drone out any potential pressure from below. Cautious of C4s. We know how deadly they can be on all this soft floor. Also spotting out those Maestro cameras is Mangoes, and that's what we'll see. No doubt Hippie Style's utility used to destroy. Line up the shot. The breaching round's going to come out after clearing that ADS. Oh, chewed by the ADS. That's unfortunate. Oh, he got it. I think he got it. Yeah, he got it. Good on him.
Job done, put it on the back. 1 minute remaining. The electric claw goes out onto the reinforced wall. I was going to say, actually, washroom was open, but it's not. They just decided to... I mean, because technically you could block off the wall close to where Ippy Style is close to Pixel, but the way it doesn't make too much evidence. He does actually just take the risk of running through White Corridor and gets in. 39 seconds. They may not be aware if he wants to push this. Of course, it's Ippy Style. Why wouldn't he? But he gets immediately headshot from Juicy. He was a bit higher elevated. That gives him the more likely chance that he's going to sort of shoot down onto the head of Ippy Style, and it plays out that way. Half health for Juicy to take a bit of damage. But 23 seconds, not a lot of position gains. You lose your entry fragger. Cutie's low. He does get Dino, though, from Cigar Balcony. 4v4, but 15 seconds left. There's not a lot of time.
10 seconds
Mango's just this plan. Oh, it's almost in Piano itself. Opened up these angles, but the C4 does take out Mango's, and Knights with 4 players still up. Jack Daddy, surely there's no chance, and Knights, oh, it just came down to the wire there. I thought that plant might go down, but great utility usage to lock out the end of that one, and Knights are still in this game.
Well, they're not just in this game. They're right back in with a massive chance now to take the lead here on Kafe. Going into Fireplace and mining.
Wow.
Well, I mean, that's something we don't see too often, but well, take us through this one, Dev, because I haven't seen mining for probably 3 weeks.
Well, that's the thing, right? This bomb site, it's actually the least changed bomb site since the old Kafe, if you remember, many years ago, when Kafe was reworked. Oh, you totally remember, don't you? Well, one thing to note is often when more unorthodox bomb site choices are taken, we see the castle come out because you can remold these maybe more typically not defendable bomb sites to how you would like to see them. So the usage of these castle barricades is going to be really what I'm going to focus on. On top of that, also the fact that basically everywhere in both the B bomb site and the O bomb site, so in mining and in fireplace, the floor is actually destructible. So any players, particularly Hayward playing on that pulse downstairs, can use C4 or just shoot players who are upstairs trying to get that diffuser down. So there are lots of opportunities to deny the plant with C4, like we saw last round. And yeah, there's also a lot of opportunities to hold from above as well inside piano because the floor is soft there. But of course, you just have to remember that this bomb site relies so heavily on roaming. This castle barricade placed to protect any roamers downstairs using C4. He's still got 2 castle barricades in the pocket. It's almost like Josh is just making this up as he goes.
I'm sure there's a plan in place. This is the sort of bomb site pick, right, where you've got to have a plan in place. I mean, I know you're always going to have some sort of a plan going into any sort of round, but in this case, you think, right, we've been working on this strat. Let's bring it out here. It's not a must-win round because they should be favored to win this, but considering they're doing the mining, how much pressure can they really put on this third floor compared to normal? You said that they need to roam more than anything, and we look at that third floor, and it is empty. Besides Dino around white stairs, which is sort of just part of the roaming strat, Joker's looking into Cocktail like, okay, this is free.
Notably, though, that train hatch into piano has been reinforced and protected by an electric claw from Dino. And with no Thatcher, it's going to be, and no Maverick, mind you, it's going to be very difficult to remove that electric claw and open up the hatch with the Hibana pellets. You might need to use some kind of grenade to destroy that, but all right, Juicy's going to find the lead off there. Mangoes goes down, and that's all the hard breach eliminated. So doesn't matter about that electric claw. That was an angle contesting onto the roof. What a risky play, but for Juicy, it pays off. He's still got 2 mute jammers in the pocket. I don't know what Knights are doing right now, but it seems to be working.
Expect the unexpected. A phrase you've heard before, but you mentioned that Josh was making things up along as he goes. I don't know. I think they've planned this one out, trying to throw a spanner in the works here against Okami.
Attackers drop the diffuser.
Tie it up 4-4 in what is a very valuable series for them, a very valuable match. Ippy style, though, as his usual style is, walk in, get frags, and with Joker to his side, they're able to find Dino as well. And now 3-4 on the scoreboard. It was 3-4 for a moment in game, but now it's tied 3-3. Ippy style, can he find another one? Very low health, can't really get into a duel. Needs to find an instant headshot if he's going to do anything, or maybe find Hayward, who's also very low on health. Flashed for a moment. Jack Dad's got the push up from Juicy at red stairs. Who looks into mining. Couldn't find anything initially, and a double kill for Hayward comes out in a 2 versus 2 now against Cutie and Ippy style, who's now injured. 2 versus 1. Cutie full health against the 2 half health Strider and Hayward. 20 seconds.
Both players lit, but of course Hayward downstairs does have the pulse scanner. He also has that C4 still in the pocket. The C4, I think that just blew up, and yeah, he's wasted it now. Still a 2 versus 1. Cutie not favored here, and he's not going for that plant. 3 seconds left. What's he doing? He's going for kills. He finds one. Hayward has to hide, and he does. It may have been a weird one, but it worked. Knights take the rounds.
Wasn't expecting to see hide and seek played out, especially going into what was going to be a potential reading fireplace. Now it is going to be a reading fireplace, and the opportunity to now make this 5-4 becomes even stronger. If you suspect that Knights played the more stock standard, hold up at cocktail, white corridor pixel, and from there it makes it very difficult for Okami. They got their cheeky win to give them one over Okami. Okami didn't really do anything special on their attack dev. They lost Bar Cocktail. Sorry, on their defense. They lost Bar Cocktail twice. This is a big chance that Knights were able to hold that Bar Cocktail originally the first time they were up there. Then they win mining. Now they got their stock standard one to go up 5-4.
You make a great point, in fact. Knights have won the 2 bomb sites that Okami either never won or never even played. So from here on out, in theory, you know, the only bomb sites that they're yet to defend are the ones with an 100% defensive win rate on this map so far. So that kind of gives you a bit of confidence, doesn't it? Moving forward into the rest of this. Maybe Knights can actually lock this out and really steal ahead on their defense. Okami set the standard of 4 defensive wins in the half, and I think Knights are going to raise them potentially for even more.
Well, it is Knights' map pick. 7-2 Elevate last week on Kafe. This has been much closer for them. Probably too close for their liking, considering they had already lost Clubhouse earlier. In another reality, though, maybe they don't kind of throw away Clubhouse. Maybe they go on and win Clubhouse. But that's the way it was looking at 4-1. Knights could have been in a position where they 2-0'd this series if they win Kafe. Of course, ifs and buts, but in the end, Okami got the job done when it mattered towards the end of Clubhouse. Can they do it again similar on Kafe, where now they're being pressured? They had a good start on their defense, 2-4 in the first half. But since then, 2 in a row to Knights, and now a very tough location to take for Okami. They need to find an early frag, or they need to punish maybe someone like Josh if they hang around too long in Cocktail.
Also, gonna keep my eye on Juicy. He's found the opening pick. Both defensive rounds this far for Knights, and well, from Okami's perspective, they need to make sure to shut him down. Joker repelling on these windows, vulnerable to a jump out, but no doubt he's used his air jabs to protect him. Juicy, so keen, he wants to go for it. Is he gonna do it? He jumps outside, but he gets killed by the Claymore. If only he could have finished that spray before, but no, he only lands one shot, and Juicy meets his demise.
Fortunately, there's a trade elsewhere. C4 in hand for Strider, expecting a bit more pressure up on that 3rd floor. Greedy from Juicy, but understandable. You mentioned how eager it seemed he was wanting to do that. Can't get the C4 up because from below. Hello. There goes an Ippy style, both at the same time in 2 different areas are able to find frags. This is impressive from Okami. They've sliced through the defense of Knights on the one site that they didn't lose, and on the one site that usually is hard to take. This has been a very intriguing defense from Knights. Winning rounds they shouldn't win, losing rounds they shouldn't lose, although 1v3. Josh can still drop down Cocktail if he wants. You can change it up. Just over the balcony. 27 seconds as he keeps pre-firing for these wall bangs. Not going to find it. Okami win the round.
Every time Knights tried to make some kind of aggressive play, it was shut down. Of course, we talked about Juicy going for that jump outside. There wasn't an air jab, and perhaps the fact that Juicy couldn't hear an air jab, because they do make a tiny little whistling noise. You can hear them. Perhaps him not hearing the air jab made him think, okay, this is a freebie. I'm going to jump outside. Of course, the Claymore doesn't make any noise, so boom. And then, of course, we had players like Strider going for that C4, attempting to make some kind of aggressive play and stunt out the attack, pushing in through the bar. But, of course, that was droned out and countered quite effectively as well by Okami, who, might I add, are quite decisively in this lead. 5-4. I know we've hyped up Knights and talked about how strong their defenses were, but, yeah, you can win some interesting kind of a bit unusual defensive bomb sites, but you need to be able to nail down even the more standard ones as well, the ones you should be winning. You can't just win out on cheese. You need to be able to be thorough. Otherwise, Okami will look to take the 2nd map in this series.
Once again, the test presented, though, to Okami. In this time, a bit more of a reward, potentially laying on the other side of it. Bar and Cocktail, they were unsuccessful in their attack last attempt. But if they are successful this time, 6-4 match point, Okami then would be on the verge of a 2-0 in the series. At that point, Knights would have, what, Kitchen? And maybe if they want to try mining again. Both were, of course, successful.
I don't think they'll go mining again. I just have a feeling, you know?
Hey, it's an option, right?
It's there. Take it or leave it. Maybe leave it. So I'm going to be looking for Okami though on this one, because of course Bar Cocktail was quite a decisive victory for Knights previously. Again, Juicy got that first pick. Nice on early. Dino actually very aggressive at top red stairs at the moment. Is he perhaps holding a C4? Waiting for this hatch to get destroyed so he can toss out a C4. You can see Knights are just so eager to make some kind of aggressive play. Over he is droned out, decides not to go for it, but he does take out the drone in the meanwhile, and never underestimate the value of killing a drone. It's a very limited resource for the attackers, but so are heads, and Hayward just lost his.
I'd rather get a player than a drone, but I understand your sentiment. Hippie style once again with an entry frag, although no entry just yet. The frag nonetheless still came through. 2 minutes remaining, still a lot of time, but not a lot of pressure around Cigar or even top red. Let's assume that they're going to start to drop down soon. Hippie style maybe we're likely to see if he can find someone rotating, clear out these ADSs. Maybe try and flush out the player in backstore, which is Dino.
He's trying to use an Ash Shard to destroy the Electroclaw.
Yeah, I was about to say that as well. There's something of an option. But that's a lot of time being utilized to try and get rid of that claw. Minute 20. There's more to this bomb site than just getting rid of that one Electroclaw. If Style does find a kill.
Juicy wants to peek on out here. Oh, and he's punished. Nice headshot there for Itby. Really great round for him at the moment. And Cutie also piles on. Josh, last man standing, manages to rotate up back to Cocktail. Nice on easy, but 1 versus 5 and a whole minute for Okami to work with. There's just no way this is going to happen. He spots out one player, a C4 in hand, but punished from every direction. Okami spearhead themselves onto match point, and in such a fashion with the flawless round.
Match point for Okami. Knights have been thunderstruck here tonight. We had the poll vote earlier on. A lot of people favored either side. I mean, to be fair, no one really expected a draw tonight, apparently. Everyone was either Team Knights or Team Okami, except you and me. I said a draw as well. Thank you very much.
Hey, okay.
But regardless,
we can be wrong together.
I think we're going to be wrong together here. Match point down to Kitchen. Okami are just one round away. And for them, I mean, looking forward to the next few games next week. They've got Elevate followed up with that is Wildcard. They needed these rounds. They really needed these maps.
Oh, yeah, that's it. I mean, Okami got to be happy with themselves if they can close it out here. It's been tough against Knights. There have been some roadblocks, but to close it out and get that full 6 points will put Okami on tied points with Wildcard. And, well, obviously them not having played each other is then going to put even more stake on the game that they play next week, which will be insane. But, of course, every point that Okami gets, every map win, helps secure their spot in that top floor, running away from the likes of Elevate and the Knights, of course. But Sinister and Wildcard and potentially Okami looking to be in a really strong position going into our final week of playdays next week. But of course, let's not get ahead of ourselves. Okami still have to secure it here, and Knights really not too far away from taking us to overtime. It happened on map 1, might be in the reverse, but I definitely wouldn't count out the possibility.
No, but it's a very real possibility, and that's the startling fact for Knights. And the other startling fact is, unfortunately, well, not necessarily unfortunately, Knights did a lot of work last week taking care of Elevate, but moving forward, they've now only got one more playday, and that's going to be next week against Wildcard. And again, we've touched on that earlier on as Itby Style finds Dino. I believe it was Itby Style. I looked away at the last second. It was Joker. That's how much I'm used to Itby Style usually just finding the first kill. Can you really blame me there?
No,
but I was looking at the matchup, of course, next week for Knights, and it's going to be a very difficult one. So, and now it's going to be a very difficult round as well. 2 minutes, 4-5. It's looking good for Okami.
And I mean, what is this from Juicy, right? On the top floor, playing Vigil, obviously trying to evade drones, but and surely this isn't going to work. Surely Knights need to rely on something more reliable than, I guess, a kind of cheesy play, having a player unsupported. Obviously, someone flicking onto his camera to try to help him out. Benefit of the Vigil, of course, is that any pre-placed drones that Okami are flicking through while Juicy is using his ERC7 disruptor, it does protect him from being visible there. Strider actually getting aggressive now that Juicy has called out there's a player way out. Hayward does find a kill. Numbers even, and that's Mango's poor man once again taken out nice and early. Strider's droned out, so he tries to back away. But still Juicy keen to try and find this player. Gets peeked from up top, and there you go. That's Joker to find his second on the round. Joker for 3. 4 versus 2 now, and Okami still on match point, edging ever so close to getting this 2-0 on the series.
Joker's had enough. He just wants to go to bed. He wants to put Knights to bed as well. The timing, though, unfortunate for Knights, because really Joker may not have even got to that point. Had they not looked away at the last second. 40 seconds remaining now. Hayward even just struggling to get the drone. This is sort of indicative of how this is now going. Unfortunately for Knights, it's all upside down. It's a mess. 30 seconds left. Okami edging closer and closer to the series win, to the map win.
Edging on through, you hear the G8 ringing out from Jack Dad Ippy style for another all on Josh, holding this long angle in the crossfire, and he is eliminated. Okami take the series 2-0. It was hard fought, but they deserved it, and will be preparing for their matches next week after that impressive performance.
Definitely hard fought, definitely deserved for Okami. They had to fight back from a 4-1 deficit on Clubhouse on the first map. Since that point onwards, though, they seemed in control. And what was it? I think 23 kills on Clubhouse for Ippy style, 11 here on Kafe. It's like, what, 34 kills? Ridiculous night from Ippy. Not too much of a surprise, though, but Okami pick up 2 very, very valuable map wins going into next week, where, of course, they've still got 2 more playdays, one against Elevate and one against Wildcard Gaming. That series against Elevate may dictate between those 2 teams who makes top 4. Juicy stuff. But what a series and what a night so far, Dev.
Oh, yeah, it's been crazy. We are really getting to the end of the season, and you can just see the movement that's possible within the standings is making every single round just a nail biter. And I'm holding my breath just to see who's going to edge out on top. And Okami, I think they're going to be proud with how they've performed tonight. Sinister as well. Both teams that won these series have really shined tonight. Or shone, I don't know, is the past sense of shined. I mean, it's been great to see. We've been witness to some fantastic games, and I mean, Knights and Okami was one that was always going to be close. I think we didn't know quite what to expect.
Yeah,
we were a bit befuddled by the map veto. Map 1 did not disappoint at all, and I think Map 2 also set the stage for Okami going into the end game of Six Masters quite strongly.
Definitely agree with you. Okami will solidify that 3rd spot for the time being. For Pittsburgh Knights, it's a real opportunity missed. I mean, they came into tonight dependent on what happened between LFO and Sinister. Obviously, in the end, we know Sinister ended up winning both of those maps. They had an opportunity to take top spot themselves. Had they, of course, then won both maps against Okami. In the end, they don't win a single one. In the end, we don't have a single draw in either series tonight. 2-0 to Sinister against LFO and 2-0 to Okami against Pittsburgh Knights. And in a way, almost, I won't say directly answers my question, but indirectly, right, doesn't then give that excuse over to LFO about missing last week and their play being rescheduled for next week, because Okami were clean, they were precise, and of course, they didn't play last week either.
Yeah, well, I mean, despite having that bit of a break, it certainly looks like Okami has gone well. Let's have a chat to Jack Dad from Okami about the match tonight and see how he's gone.
Hey lads, what's up?
How's it going, Jack Dad? How's it going?
Quite well,
Congratulations on the 2-0 tonight. You guys were very, very impressive, and you get a massive opportunity now going into next week to solidify a top 4 spot.
Yeah, feels pretty good. My team amazing. They did very well. Shout out to Jaden, Ippy style, who did 23 kills on the first map, which was insane.
Yeah,
carried us to freedom. Yeah, really proud of everyone. Fun games.
Jack, can you just like lean back? I want to have a look at what you're wearing there.
Oh yeah.
So,
yeah, so
did
it's
some-
looking pretty fucking fly.
all right, sit back down, mate. Don't flatter yourself too much. I like the suit. I respect the grind. We have a full suit night so far on Six Masters interviews. So, mate, what I want to ask, why Clubhouse? I mean, on paper, I didn't have a lot of confidence behind you guys. I mean, you proved me wrong by the end of it, but man, that was a tough slog. You guys have previously banded against Sinister. Why
Yeah.
take us there?
Yeah, just felt like playing it. We're all pretty comfortable on it. Yeah, that's it.
Thank you, Jack. That's very insightful.
I mean, I'll expand onto it, but was there any thought about Villa at all, or was it just always going to be Clubhouse?
No, yeah, it was going to be Club Cafe, which is what we prepped for mostly. And yeah, worked out in the end.
Before I let you go, though,
Yep.
you guys started off a bit slow in Clubhouse 4-1. Is there anything you sort of thought maybe about why that happened? Just a bit slow out of the gates?
Yeah, just a bit slow out of the gates. I felt on some of the rounds it was just tiny mistakes that cost us everything. Yeah, so it's pretty easy to bounce back if we'll just keep calm and frag, keep a good mindset going forward, and yeah, brought it home in the end.
Alrighty, well, thanks a lot, mate. Best of
Cool,
luck
thanks for the
next
chat.
week in both of your matches.
See you guys.
Yeah.
I was not expecting him to stand up.
No, I was gonna say, if you ever see someone wearing a suit on broadcast, especially at home, they're probably not wearing pants. I think he was wearing pajama pants. At least they weren't short,
Yeah.
like little shorts or something. But hey,
Yeah.
answered your question a bit there, Dev. Villa never even in the frame of mind, so
So he
I feel a
says.
bit vindicated there.
Yeah, I'll let you have this one, Xenox. But can I just point out, this week on Six Masters, the players were dressed more fancily than the casters. And I mean, how does that make you feel? As the guy wearing a hoodie right now, how does that make you feel?
Is that even a word?
Fancily?
Fancily? I don't know if I've ever heard that one, but
I don't have a go on my
hey,
vocab, all right?
listen, okay, I like my little Six Masters shirt. That was hard to
I do
see,
too.
but my microphone blocking it the whole night. But look, yeah, what can I say? They've got style. They play with style, and their fragger was Ippy style.
Certainly was stylish, man. Well, let's have a go in chats to Strider from Knights.
How are you going, Strider? A bit of a rough one tonight, unfortunately, having this conversation. But just take us through, I guess, your thoughts for yourself and as a team.
Yeah, we're a bit heartbroken, especially on Clubhouse. We started off strong. We came out shooting, but we felt as though we just couldn't secure the rounds when we were defending. And I mean, hats off to Style with 22 frags, but we knew what he was going to do. He was going to sit in blue, and as you saw, like, it really hurt me in particular. And all the other sites, it wasn't really anything special. It was pretty default. I think we were just not playing to the best of our ability tonight. So yeah, like LFO definitely deserved the win.
So while you are a bit modest with how it went on Clubhouse, like, you guys took that so close, and you guys had a few match points in there as well, especially starting strong on your attack. You made me and Xenox, mainly me, question why on earth Okami would take you to Clubhouse. And by the end of it, you guys had some really strong attacks, but once you hit overtime, straight out of the gate, you saw that SSG roam and you went straight for the rush, and it just, you fell flat on your face. What was the thought process there, and what went wrong?
There was probably a little bit of miscommunication on what we actually wanted to push in that regard. We felt as though the clear for the SSG roam was like, it did work on the previous round, but it kind of relied on a few gunfights that we didn't quite want it to be like that. So we just decided, let's go hard and make them force them into doing something different. But yeah, we definitely just like got turned into a shooting gallery once we dropped blue. But on win a few gunfights in sight, and then that's a different round.
Going into that map then on Cafe after losing Clubhouse in a pretty close fashion, were you guys aware of any sort of, like, I guess, pressure that may have been on you guys as a team to sort of take that map, considering you know, you've only got one more play day next week, and it is against Wildcard. Obviously, you guys will back yourselves to get something from that series. Admittedly, it is going to be tough, but to get nothing from tonight really does, I guess, hurt your chances for top 4. So did you feel that pressure going into that map?
Yeah, it definitely hurt. We felt as though we did not perform tonight, and at the end of the day, tonight's just going to be remembered as a 2-0 when we felt as though we could have at least brought a 1-1. At least taking them to Kafe, we knew that it was just going to be like Ippy flank and Cutie with the vertical play, but they didn't even get to that stage. I think we saw that they were quite strong against Sinister, so we always knew it was going to be a tough one to take them to Kafe, but it didn't quite work out as what we expected, and you saw like they punished us for picking it.
Thanks for coming on, mate, and sharing your thoughts. Wish you the best of luck next week. It's going to be tough, but I know you guys will give it your best.
Thanks, boys. I'll catch you later.
A little bit somber, Dev, and definitely agree. You know, and I think it's fully respectable to say, you know, they're heartbroken from that because that's the case. This was a big opportunity for them to get a 2-0 themselves. A lot of people thought in the poll vote that, you know, this could be a 2-0. I said, when we both said it could go either way, which is why we kind of went towards the draw. But in the end, Okami just too strong. And for Knights now, they're left reeling. They've only got one more play day, which will be next week against Wildcard. Let's go and have a look at recap today's games that we saw play out. We had two 2-0s, both going on the right-handed side of your screen. Sinister took out LFO in a pretty convincing manner, 7-3, 7-2 on Clubhouse and then Kafe, and then Okami 2-0'd Pittsburgh on, you guessed it, Clubhouse and then Kafe.
Yeah, we like Clubhouse and Kafe, don't we, in Six Masters?
I do. I love it.
Yeah, I know you do. Sinister really were the ones who impressed me tonight. You know, dispatching with LFO as they did, and really securing that #1 spot on the standings. Really impressive stuff. And also credit to Okami. Look, it was really hard fought, especially on Clubhouse. Let's have a look at the standings now. And in fact, 3 out of those 4 teams we saw play tonight are still within that top 4. Sinister, 24 points, edging above Wildcard. But keep in mind, Sinister only have 1 more game remaining, or 2 more maps rather remaining, whereas Wildcard still have quite a few more to go. So yeah, I mean, there's a lot of potential here for this to get shaken up as well. Do you have any expectations going into the final week, how we'll see things shift?
Look, I mean, right now it's hard to say it because you don't want to assume things. You don't want to say, okay, Wildcard's definitely going to like 2-0 Pittsburgh Knights. Things can happen, right? Pittsburgh might just have the best night ever and go and pick up a 2-0 against Wildcard, or even a 1-1, 21 points. Is that going to be enough? A lot of that then comes down to how Elevate play. You know, we've got Elevate tomorrow night. They're going to be playing Wildcard, and then Elevate have got Okami next week, right? So maybe Pittsburgh, they got done by Okami this week, but maybe Okami will do them a favor and kind of do the exact same thing to Elevate in the final week.
Yeah, you're not wrong. And in fact, you know, the 2nd place, 3rd place, and 5th place teams are all playing each other in the next week. So Wildcard, Okami, and Elevate. And it means that, you know, if you're a team like Knights or Sinister that's really feeling the pressure from one of those teams, even, you know, LFO to some degree as well, you actually want them to kind of beat each other so they don't go too far ahead of you. And there's definitely still an opportunity here for Knights. I know we've really painted this loss tonight to LFO as kind of that nail in the coffin, but as long as they can stay ahead of Elevate and LFO, who are the ones who really have a chance of edging in, and remember that Elevate in particular have some tough games still remaining with Wildcard tomorrow night, which is going to be insane, and then next week against Okami. There's a total possibility here that Knights only need 1 more map to stay ahead of Elevate, and that's what they're going to have their sights on for next week against Wildcard.
Yeah, but then I think that also comes and brings us back to this series against Okami, where you mentioned if they can get 1 map against Wildcard, that might be enough. Well, then they could have just got this 1 map against Okami tonight. That would have been enough as well for them. They didn't, however, get that map. It was a 2-0 to Okami over Pittsburgh Knights, a 2-0 for Sinister over LFO for this play day. Of course, we got more games coming tomorrow night. Kanga versus Ferox, the bottom 2 will duke it out, and Wildcard versus Elevate. Will Elevate be able to bounce back after their defeat last week? Join us tomorrow night for more Six Masters action.
mind's not mine and it won't forget. But you bring me back from a darkness black. Cause the soul in me and the heart I yearn for you. It bleeds for you, it bleeds again.
5 seconds.
Oh, you breathe